Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another Highway to the Zemus-Zone race. We've got Golden Hades on the Trekker, Demarine and Muppets in Space commentating. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to race 19 of Highway to the Zemus-Zone. I'm Muppets in Space, and joining me is Demarine. Demarine, how you doing?
I'm excited. I can't believe we're already 19 races deep into this tournament right now, and we are looking at a good one. We are looking at what looks like to be weekly grinders versus old school heroes here, so this should be real exciting.
That's right, we got Dipwood in the top left corner, eLmaGus in the top right corner, MrUbiq in the bottom left corner, and obdajr in the bottom right corner. I probably butchered that.
Yeah, the bottom right would be obdajr, but that's okay.
Obdajr. Everybody knows I pronounce things wrong. All right, we're about to start real soon here.
And as we get started, just to give a little bit more detail on the racers, speaking of our weekly grinders, we've got Dipwood in the top left. He's got a first and a third place sitting on 6 points, making a good run at it so far for 2 races. I mean, this is his chance to put away a couple of the old school runners and really put a signature win under his belt. As we get started, we're going to see some Rosa and Yang action today, too.
Oh, we got Valvolus, who gives him the hook to start with. So right away, we've got ourselves a potential hook seed. But a couple of good characters means that this could be a fairly fast start. We'll see who takes advantage of the hook before everybody else.
Yeah, at least the 2 characters will have some hit points to speak of, which will be nice compared to a lot of the Let's Get Tella and Edward seeds that we've been seeing. So hopefully we should be in really good shape. Just to take a moment to take us through the rest of the runners here while we get started. MrUbiq is another one of the big weekly grinders, been around for a while. He's sitting on a second and a fourth. He's at 4 points. He's in a little bit of trouble right now. Probably needs at least a second place finish today. As everybody takes the standard opening of looting out Marin right now, so just keep an eye out for anything interesting. I saw a Rune Ring and a Tiara to start.
We've got Porum up there waiting in the Baron Inn.
Alright, so good caster gear. Second White Mage is going to be accessible soon for some nice safe strats, which will always be nice. So that'll get us off to a good start.
MrUbiq has been known to bop just about anyone. He's a very, very good runner of this thing. And as you said, a weekly grinder. See him in the race channel all the time. I can definitely put the hurt on. So definitely a second and a fourth does not reflect the talent of that runner.
Yep. Speaking of another talented runner, for whom their stats don't quite reflect, we have obdajr in the bottom right with a pair of third place finishes under his belt right now, also sitting at 4 points. I mean, he's one of the old school folk who's going to come out of the woodwork to come and play, and, he's an old school Final Fantasy IV speedrunner, but, he's also making waves in the league and in weeklies as well, which is really awesome.
Absolutely. I've definitely been bopped by Obda as well. And we see life potions and tents in the very first shop in Baron, so right away we get some safety items to start with. This one's actually going to come down to a little more execution in the beginning, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's going to be, who's going to make the shop checks. I know for myself personally, a big play here with Rosa is let's go find a better bow and some arrows. Just because she can dish out a decent amount of pain early on, and we want to see that happen. So that'll be kind of a good idea.
Absolutely. Now, MrUbiq down in the lower left corner is looting the Summoner's Town right there. While the rest of them are up looting what was the remains of Damcyan.
Yeah.
And MrUbiq found an elven bow as one of the treasures down there in the Summoner's Town, so that could actually prove to be useful, especially in the opening game, and maybe even take a turn off of one of those big boss battles in the beginning.
Yeah, that definitely is an item that fits a game plan here with Rosa. She definitely needs the attacking power. That's a good way to get it. Now, of course, to introduce the fourth runner, I don't know if eLmaGus needs a ton of introduction. I'm pretty sure we all know who he is at this point. But, he's here. He's on 2 firsts and a fourth last week. So he is looking for a little bit of redemption today just to lock out a spot in the top 12, looking to put together a really good run today.
And MrUbiq is going to see who's available in Kaipo. It looks like DKC. is available for the sand rubies, so that could come into play depending on if this is a seed where ordeals is necessary or not.
Yeah, a lot of runners have loved skipping the Mountain of Ordeals because it's 3 bosses and it feels like it takes a while. So there's a lot of different sort of opinions on the mountain there.
Now, this is interesting. We see Obda and Dipwood are both going after the free character that's up there in Eblon Cave. eLmaGus has decided not to do that, has gone right to the Antlion Cave to start looting and to go for that first boss. Definitely not a surprising strat, given the experience that eLmaGus has in this. Hero in Robes and Tiara will definitely add to that damage output there. But we'll see if that actually puts him at a bit of a disadvantage given what character is going to be waiting for us. Obda just reset.
Yeah, I think he was looting out the item shops first. I don't know if he found anything that he wanted here, but there's a samurai bow for eLmaGus to go with all that heavy armor that he's received, while notably Dipwood is now deep in, but there's only one issue here, is that Dipwood does not have exits right now to get out of this quickly, I don't believe.
MrUbiq is definitely going into a little more looting. Going up into Toria Castle to loot the free treasures up there. Is just stockpiling as much stuff as possible to sell and maybe to use. A strength ring is going to help a lot.
Yeah, so we've got eLmaGus, who found the bubble gauntlet at the bottom of Antlion Cave, so he will be there a while. We'll leave him be for a minute. That's not a short fight. It's 6 fights stacked together, while Dipwood gets a Quake Kid. He gets Palom for his troubles, the Black Mage.
Ah, the Quake Kid. The Quake Kid does a lot of work in the middle of these runs, and that can definitely help you out if you're looking for a little bit more oomph, which this party is going to need early on, as Yang does not have a high damage output to start with, has the higher damage outputs later on in levels.
Yeah. A couple of notes from the crowd, of course. Supremacy mentioning that Obda found the Staleman box, which with no levels and no gear is no good. So he got lit up and had to reset, and PK Akfol is noting that Antlion is the boss that's going to be at Rubicon spot, so we're going to see some people get hit like a truck.
Well, that's assuming that this is indeed a hook-required seed. There's a possibility that we'll find the magma key somewhere in the overworld. It's a slim possibility, but it's still a viable option.
Yep, and it looks like MrUbiq is now releasing is going to be the last to release the hovercraft, because, I mean, with the hook, that's going to be pretty well necessary.
Release the hovercraft.
It's important to have access to all of your methods of transport. Well, it looks like Obda and Dipwood are taking their small black mage out of the area and down to the world to be used for full combat.
And MrUbiq is not done with loot percent. Going down to Eblon Cave to loot and to get his third character.
Yeah, not surprised by that. A lot of looting is kind of the early play for sure. You need that money to convert into items, and eLmaGus gets the Luca key from Antlion.
So, lackluster reward, but it is a key item, which brings you closer to 10 key items, the magic number that you need for double experience with these flags.
Yep, Luca Key also gives access to the Sealed Cave, which is not the worst location in the game. It's not always someplace that you want to go, but if you're in a real pinch for experience, grinding doors there is a viable strategy.
That's right. Those doors each give somewhere in the vein of 34 to 35,000 experience, and that's without the experience doubling. So with just under 10 key items, you can get a decent amount of experience, and with 10 key items, 68,000 to 70,000. It really does the job.
Yep. And so it is exactly 34,000 experience, interestingly enough. I've seen enough of them in my runs to have that number burnt into my memory forever. And so we have eLmaGus moved to Toroya, while MrUbiq has Palom in party now, and Obda's taken the child into what looks like Antlion Cave.
And here, what we're watching in eLmaGus' stream is basically shopping percent. A good portion of the opening of these runs ends up being just inventory management. You sell off all the junk that you don't want so you can buy things like exits, which it takes 6 of right there. In these flags, given the fact that you only have T3 and not T4, you'll often see our runners visit the weapon shops and the armor shops for a little added oomph behind their character's damage output there. Wizard robes, rune rings, strength rings, that sort of thing.
Yep, and it's likely that all of our runners are going to find that heroine robe that was sitting on floor 2 of Antline Cave as they're all here. It looks like Obda just put it on because it gives a massive boost to Rose's physical stats, but makes her a terrible healer temporarily. But if she's archering early, that's what you want.
Absolutely. Healing's not really a big deal, not until you get into the later bosses. Once you start fighting the summons and the lunar bosses, and sometimes not even then, honestly. Sometimes it just doesn't matter until the Z fight. And eLmaGus just goes up Mount Hobbs on the backside and finds Baby Mage Rydia being guarded by Yang. Yang's looking at the man in the mirror, and he's asking him to change.
I think he's really just punching him in the face.
He's just punching him in the face. It's absolutely true. Little Michael Jackson for anyone out there. Little Michael Jackson.
Yep. So eLmaGus was the only person to not go get Palom. I don't know if any of the other runners, when they go up ordeals, if they decide to make the fight happen there to get Rydia added to the party here.
We'll find out. It's, I mean, having 4 characters is better than having 3, even if one of those characters is Edward. At least that's my philosophy on it, and it tends to work out well for people. But we'll see what everyone ends up actually doing. And there's dipwood starting the Fable Gauntlet, probably cursing right now, as I would be.
Yep, Opta Jr. is deep into the Gauntlet at this point in time, and MrUbiq is going to join them in Gauntlet Slowdown % in a minute, so we're going to see a lot of basically trash mobs there getting removed, while eLmaGus is going to take his Rydia and his Ogre Axe and bail out of Mount Hobbs.
Now we see eLmaGus pick up a gold apple, I believe, and I think there are 2 more in their inventory right now, so that could actually end up tipping the scales on Palom's HP if eLmaGus decides to pick up Palom at all.
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thoughts on the apples. You either use them to, protect your white mage a little bit, or you use them to, for the end game, or you use them to boost your character early on where you need a little bit more health to survive something.
They're also worth a crap ton of gold to sell, too, if you don't need the hit points.
Also true. If you've got a ton of Berserkers in Rosa, you wouldn't need that HP probably anyhow, except for maybe minimal safety. Tuba mentioning that in the shop there we had Starveils and we had Hourglass 2s, 2 of my favorite items to see in shops for sure.
Absolutely. Starveils being probably the more important, although Hourglass is not to be overlooked. There are plenty of fights on this No Free Lunch 1 flag, like the fight we're about to see in eLmaGus' stream right now, that are susceptible to Hourglasses.
Yep,
Which
Hourglass.
casts AoE stop on everything, and he's free to just destroy them at his leisure.
Yep, while we were talking about those Hourglasses, Opta Jr. finished up the Gauntlet, and of course eLmaGus has put the stop on the soldiers, so they're going to be sort of stuck in time while Rosa fills them with arrows.
And we see Obda going up Mount Hobbs right now. Just charges right in. Oh, and does a reset. Decides not to take Rydia. Does not take Baby Mage Rydia.
I'm not terribly surprised by that call, honestly, given the circumstance that you've already got the better Black Mage. Palom gets spells so much more quickly and so much more effectively that you're generally very happy to see him, and Rydia, not so much.
Well, there are a couple of schools of thought on that one. One of the schools of thought is that Rydia actually has a few weapons that are available to her that might actually be interesting. The Dragon Whip is one of them, and also has the ability to equip bows and arrows and the heroine robes, which would make her a viable fighter. If you're relying on her for straight magic damage, however, probably not the best, as her magic progression, as well as just experience progression in general, is weak.
Yep, Silver Star 6609 mentions that Rydia does have that Bahamut factor. Bahamut could potentially show up in a key item slot. Have seen it before, and that will make things work. And eLmaGus, from finishing off Fabul, was able to get his hands on the Legend Sword.
Nice. So
Not
that's
really.
another key item. That's 3 key items already.
Yep, Legend Sword's half of an Excalibur as well, which is very exciting, when knowing that where Cecil is located behind the Sand Ruby. But
yeah, assuming that these runners even get to the Sand Ruby, that might actually be an interesting decision to make. It takes a little bit of time to make that Excal, but it ends up dealing some great damage in the Zeromus fight.
yeah, admittedly, if I had to choose between using the Icebrand Sword, which is generally what I end up with on these flags, or the Excalibur, give me the Excalibur every day. eLmaGus has found Illusions and Ether 2s in Silveria.
Illusions are great. It casts the image, or blink spell, as it were, which inflicts image status, protecting you completely from 2 physical hits. And each one of those can only be used by the person using it, so you can't target an illusion on another character. But they end up being really useful for those really hard-hitting fights, your Octomams, your Antlions, that sort of thing.
And since we know that Antlion is coming, even if eLmaGus doesn't quite know that yet, I'm sure he'll be glad to have those in his back pocket when he needs them most. So MrUbiq is now taking on the soldiers in Fabul, while obdajr made short work of them with some magic and gets his Legend Sword. While dipwood went and took Rydia and added her to the party, the only other of the runners to go and grab Rydia and not reset out.
We just saw eLmaGus look into the weapon shop and do a double take and double back into the weapon shop for Dancing Dagger. It's pretty rare that you see him do a double take like that.
Yep, Dancing Dagger, one of those weapons that Rydia can use that does give her some utility, because it is a use item that you can use over and over and over again to do about 250 to 400 damage. And it's fixed, and it goes through basically everything.
Yeah, it even goes through walls, and I actually didn't know that until only a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Well, good news, eLmaGus bought. Good news is eLmaGus bought Star Veils.
Absolutely. Bad news is that this is the first of 2 fights. And there's the Mega Nuke right there. Rosa's going to be the only person left standing. Poor girl. And let's hope that this second encounter is not just Revolt.
Baron Inn has the goods today, and by the goods we mean...
My goodness!
We mean the gauntlet of all gauntlets. It is Wyvern backed up by Golbez.
So we're seeing him pop a couple of Star Veils right away. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to wait anyway. Selected the slow spell and targeted Yang with the slow spell, who raised a wall. Planning on bouncing that slow spell off of Yang's wall onto Golbez. Oh, and we see actually the hold gas misses Rosa. I believe that's due to the heroine robes.
I'm not quite sure why that happened. I'm trying to think about what else she has equipped. I know she also has the tiara equipped, which is pretty handy.
She's got heroine, tiara, and casting mute. I see.
Yeah.
She has the tiara, has a rune ring. It's gonna raise up Rydia right now.
Yep, now that the dragon is gone, she Rosa can go ahead and raise Rydia safely, gives you an extra target for those high-powered Golbez spells coming out. But, we've got to get through some hit points here, and those spells are going to get reflected pretty quickly.
840 right off the bat's going to do a lot of that. This spot has, what, 4,000 hit points?
Yep, and the interesting thing here is that it looks like that with the way that eLmaGus is geared out right now, he's going fast enough that you can see he's getting a ton of actions before the spells start coming out. But like from before, the wall did not stay up because it was there for a while, and so it ran out.
Yeah, the Star Veils last a pretty standard amount of time. It's the Moon Veils that end up lasting a lot longer. And they also add physical evasion, too. eLmaGus gets through that fight with relative ease and is rewarded with the Pass.
The pass is the first item I think we're really excited to see. It's half of Go mode. It is access to go to Toroya and open up the dancing club there and get access to the moon right to Zeromus's room to go and fight him. Without the crystal though, not 100% useful, but we'll take 50% useful.
Absolutely, absolutely. You always take item 1 of 2. Always take item 1 of 2 in there. And now it's just crystal time. See what eLmaGus ends up doing.
Is eLmaGus going to mount ordeals? This is not a normal play for him. This is a place that he likes to skip normally. Of course, we've been focused so much on eLmaGus, but let's move over. MrUbiq did take Rydia, so obdajr was the only player to skip out on the Black Mage there. Everybody else went ahead and took her. Beat up on Yang with some ice too. You know, used that high-powered black magic to blow him away. So, pretty quick stuff. And dipwood is now bailing out on Fabul now that that's been cleaned out. Well, obdajr is gonna see a giant dragon show up at the party and is gonna get the wall up on Yang to start.
Interesting. Went for it with Rosa, that opening attack. Decided to actually try to one-shot Wyvern instead of popping up those Star Veils.
Yep, the spot only has 500 hit points, so it's the kind of location where you can kind of get things taken care of pretty quickly there.
All right, and in the Mylon spot up at the top of Mount Ordeals, we've got Plague.
Plague doesn't do anything.
Yeah, Plague just kind of sits there. He likes to count at you.
Yep, and then you die.
Well, then you die. I believe the Mylon spot has a total of 3,200 hit points?
I don't know the precise number offhand. I tend to use my rough estimate as 4,000 for all the slots at this point in the storyline, but either way, with a bow, you're going to do a lot of damage anyways.
Absolutely, absolutely. 3780 is what Dusty Griff is saying in chat. Thank you, Dusty. Yeah, and that's the hit points not just of Mylon, but also of the 4 ghasts that are with Mylon. And we see Dr. Luigi and Barnaby. Dr. Luge and Balnab sitting in the Mylon Z spot for that back attack.
Yep, so we're going to get to see the whole script for this fight both times, while MrUbiq and dipwood continue looting the world, checking all of the item shops. I believe the search for sirens is on at this point, and they were not on the overworld.
So Obda is actually going to go all in on this fight here. There's the Star Veil. So Star Veil's Palom, and it's just going to town with that bow on with Rosa.
Yeah, one of the really intriguing things about this... Well, Rosa goes down, but one of the intriguing things about this fight is that you can't kill Golbez with a reflected spell. You have to have a successful action performed because his death is a script, and scripts don't occur when spells are reflected. Dipwood and MrUbiq have found the fairly slow and less dangerous than I think we think Wyvern there, but
Dipwood takes a wipe.
Dipwood does not get the reflect status up. While MrUbiq is able to get Rosa all veiled up and ready to go. So she survives, and he'll move on to the second fight, but we've got our first wipe to the Wyvern, and Dipwood's going to go back in after dropping the battle speed all the way to 6, which is a really smart move.
Yeah, we'll see if that move pays off, actually. There could be agility problems with his party setup, but we'll find out if it's got enough time for that Star Veil. It looks like it.
I mean, I think at battle speed 6, if you attack, you actually would get off enough time to get spells off here, and
that might happen. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, let's see what's at the top of Ordeals. Well, Protect Ring.
Well, Protect Ring is not a bad find. It's the best magic. It's the second best magic defense ring that you can find in the game. We want magic defense for the last fight because Zeromus is very much a magic damage only fight. So making sure that your white mage is protected enough to not go down during the fight is always a big part of the strategy. But of course, I think the crowd is going wild because with the Protect Ring, you know what that means.
What does that mean?
It means that we have cleared every overworld location that has an item in it.
And we got to go down. We got to hook our...
Yep. Night Dew is reminding us that Mistdragon could be hanging out at Vanilla or Octomom and protecting the Magma Key, but it's incredibly unlikely, so...
Yeah, that's definitely an outlier. That's definitely an outlier possibility, but it is a possibility.
I think we're, I think we're ready. I think it's going to be time.
So, Dipwood and MrUbiq have found their respective goal bases. Meanwhile, Obda is down on Mount Ordeals, doing the first fight on Mount Ordeals. Ended up using a Star Veil to reflect Plague's count back onto himself, which is something that I found out about 2 months ago that you could do.
Yeah, it will make Plague. It will make Plague die. And also, since you have an uncounted character, we'll let everybody else survive too. So eventually, Plague will just drop if the damage output is not enough to take Plague apart, which is always really interesting to me.
Yeah, and I believe that when you reflect count, each time it ends up reflecting the same count back to him. So if you're set back at 10, Plague ends up getting set back at 10.
Yep.
Oh, and eLmaGus just checked the Octomam spot. Didn't find what he was looking for there.
So eLmaGus is looking for the Mistdragon just in case. Is trying to make that play that he thinks that no one else will make to try and get out of the hook seed. MrUbiq has got his pass and is traveling to Ordeals, while Obda has killed Plague, in a straightforward manner, had all the time in the world. And went ahead and took care of that, but at the Mistdragon spot was Evil Wall.
eLmaGus ends up taking the Evil Wall fight. Typically speaking, why anyone would just take that fight no matter what is it's an extra boss defeated, and if you find Fusoya with the current setup of flags, each boss battle gives Fusoya access to another 3 spells and another 100 hit points.
Yeah, and he's doing something you don't see every day. He went ahead and looted out parts of the Misty Cave.
And gets to show us the wonderful desert colors of the exit spell in Cave of Mist.
Yep. Not sure what he was looking for there, but he didn't find much of anything other than a Silent Staff, so he's on his way. Dipwood's got the pass as well, so we've got 2 runners on Ordeals right now, MrUbiq and Obda Jr. They used a little bit of extra time to get Palom, but without Exit, I don't think it really saved them a ton of time comparatively. And so they are now doing those bosses while eLmaGus is taking his first dip into the Evelyn Underground.
Let's see what Dipwood does here. Dipwood has not done Ordeals yet. Is Dipwood going to fall into that? Looks like Dipwood is actually going to skip Ordeals and go right to the Underground.
That's going to give Dipwood a little bit of an advantage. I mean, he doesn't quite know that. I mean, he won't have the Protect Ring for the endgame, but he will be saving some time here that he would have otherwise used up there.
I think it's a pretty bold play from Dipwood there. You see the timers at 27 minutes and that you haven't gotten to the Underground just yet. You've done just about everything up there. You can pretty much project that that timer's going to look somewhere in the vein of 37 by the time you get down Ordeals. It's a pretty rough time to look at headed down Ordeals, so this play makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. eLmaGus loading up on mute arrows while he's down here, so in case he finds a magical boss, he can, he can hunt it down pretty easily. MrUbiq was able to get a character killed and resurrected, so he's going to get the count reset there, so he should be in good shape to finish this off. Dipwood is going to check the weapon shop as well while eLmaGus is looting at this point, but he also probably has enough levels and confidence to take apart the monster chest as well if he finds it.
Absolutely. It's also got hourglasses, which is pretty important. You can just pop an hourglass onto either of those chests either this chest or the Mad Ogre fight in Upper Babel. And that'll just stop them dead in their tracks. You can kill them as you see fit, and maybe even life glitch your way into some experience.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a conversation going on about whether getting Palom early was the play, because I think I mentioned that. And the big thing is that the other runners, they've got level 15, 16, 17 on their Palom, while eLmaGus will have level 10 to start. The big thing, though, is that eLmaGus is going to definitely get some levels from the Mad Ogre chest using Life Glitch, which will be really helpful, and kind of, get things in really good shape. So, Muppets, there was a request to explain the Life Glitch, so can you give us an overview of that, please?
Absolutely. So, the Life Potion, it's not really a glitch, it's more of an exploit. The Life Potion is programmed to revive a character at, I believe it's 8 times its vitality? Or something like that. I'm fuzzy on the actual multiplier, but the vitality factor does factor into this. And that would be fine. You can target an enemy with this item, and if you do that, an enemy is dying, you target them with a life potion. If it goes off, it will do the same thing. The unfortunate thing about the way that the enemies are programmed is that all enemies have 0 vitality. So, it revives them and immediately kills them. So it counts in this game as an extra kill.
Yeah, dipwood did pull that off successfully with the first Scale Man on his screen, and you can see eLmaGus throwing that Hourglass too with these Mad Ogres. So the Mad Ogres are going to be standing still for a little while. They're gonna take a couple swings at the party first because their attacks are queued, but now eLmaGus is free to attempt to unload on these ogres as fast as possible.
I see him taking out those lit arrows and throwing in mute arrows. For some reason, mute arrows, rune axe, mute dagger, anything that affects mages considerably also affect the Mad Ogre in the same manner.
Yep. Obdajr Jr. finished up getting his Legend Sword. He's leaving, and I think he is aware that it is time for the Hook Seed to go. So he's going to go grab his hovercraft and head underground. MrUbiq is on the second phase of the Lugay fight, is now currently trailing behind the pack a little bit, so still in good shape.
And we're gonna see eLmaGus gain 11,600 experience from this or something like that.
It's a lot. It's 17,000, I believe.
It's 17,000. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And there's Bursk.
Yep, and gets Palom all the way up to level 22, which is one level short.
Just one shy of Quack.
Yeah, Quake being the big draw for Palom. I think we talk about it an awful lot, but Quake at 23 is, pretty close to being a meme in the community at this point in time. But it's why you want him. Quake has a really high damage multiplier and ignores walls.
So we got MrUbiq at the summit of Mount Ordeals. We've got Obda doing a little shopping percent, and dipwood right on eLmaGus's heels right here in Upper Babel.
Yeah, and dipwood's probably going to be searching for that ogre chest as well, because he's going to want that extra experience for sure. Obda Jr. wanted to grab, it looks like, more mute arrows as well, so he's going to grab a pile of mute arrows for himself. Again, giving that nice, powerful, archery for Rosa, which will be great, and I'm sure he'll be real happy to have a whole pile of them for when those magic pop up.
See eLmaGus doing a little equipment management through a protect ring on Rosa and rune ring on Palom. A little up of damage. Oh, that's a rough encounter to get right there. Oh no!
Oh my!
DKC in the King Queen Eblon spot, taking no prisoners. That is a fast spot, and that is a high damage output.
Yeah, that is something else for sure.
And eLmaGus nopes right out of it? What is he? He's thinking about it. He's checking everybody, making sure that he could possibly survive this.
Yeah, he knows he needs healing. That heroin shirt may come off at this point in time. But
it might. it might, but you never know. He might actually want the speed that the hero in robes provide.
Yeah, probably manipulating his party order here. Dipwood is also executing the life glitch on the ogres as well, so gonna get his potions worth here, which will be great. I'm sure he's looking forward to all the experience. Let's
Oh, God, he's so fast.
Yep. It might be grind time.
It could be grind time. Could also be time to find some items, some better equipment. There's no equipment in the game that's going to save you from Dark Wave, if I recall correctly.
Nope, Dark Wave does fixed damage based upon the stats of the location, and it just stings a little bit for sure. So no equipment in the world is going to stop that from doing about 650 damage a shot.
This is a really equalizing location for DKC here. See, eLmaGus backtracking right now. I have a feeling that we're going to take a look at a spot that we don't normally get to see in these flags, Eblon Castle.
Yeah, I mean, looking for experience points makes that an option, certainly. As Dipwood saves at the point, you know, it's going to be the second person to see what's about to happen to his party by Dark Knight Cecil's hand. obdajr making good time, catching up as well. So we'll see if either of these runners have a trick to take apart Dark Knight Cecil where eLmaGus didn't, and take up the lead here. But otherwise, eLmaGus is going to sit in the throne and then head over and continue the game.
A little meme throne sit right there. And here's the monsters. Staleman Skull fight. You got the hourglasses to take care of these fights too. Not really a problem. Let's see what Dipwood's how Dipwood does on this one.
Dipwood's going to go with Plan A, which is die horrifically, it looks like.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Plan A is reset. It's just a tough damage roll on Rosa right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what eLmaGus is doing is going to try and work Rosa up to have enough health to survive that first shot. Because then she can get a heal off on Yang, and Yang will have probably enough health to survive too.
Absolutely.
And that's what'll get them through this spot. So it's doable. It is a definite required grind though. Dipwood considering options right now. obdajr is working over those Mad Ogres for experience points, which is pretty good.
Let's see what eLmaGus's treasure is for this. Oh, there's Quake. That's the real treasure. And it gets a coffin.
Right, and drops those apples onto Yang, not something that you see every day.
Now, this is interesting. Dipwood has turned encounters on. I was looking for that extra level from just random encounters in Upper Babel.
Yeah, this is definitely a sensible call. There's a lot of multi-packs. You can get things like ogres and the like, and you can stop them with your hourglasses and then life glitch them. There's a lot of good experience packs out there potentially. The double balloon ogre cat is the best one. That's about 11,000 experience base. And if you life glitch both balloons and the ogre, you're closer to like 18 grand.
So Dipwood's going to continue his grind right there. He's going to find the rare encounter, the egg that turns into a green dragon. This is actually a difficult fight. Green Dragon's got probably 2,000 hit points, a little over oh, no, never mind. It's just the Lamia.
Yep. Right, but, you know, the Lamia is still a bit of a pain. Does charm the party and hits pretty hard for what it's worth. And obdajr is about to get his Rude Awakening here from Dark Knight Cecil, because I don't think he was prepared for it.
Oh, Rosa survives! Oh.
No, Rosa doesn't survive two of them, though. It goes down pretty quickly here.
Not two of them, but that is interesting. Rosa's hit points in Obda's stream is actually higher than it is in Dipwood and eLmaGus' stream. I believe Rosa is actually up a level right now. This could be really interesting.
Yeah, I think that Obda cracked the apples into Rosa to give her a little bit of extra health anyways, just because you know you're gonna want her in the end game anyhow. eLmaGus has found the triple ogre chest, while we've got balloons over here for we've got balloons for dipwood, which is, you know, again, pretty ideal. Let's start life glitching them.
Absolutely, and he's got Quake for balloons.
Quake does not hit balloons, intriguingly enough.
As we see right up there, 1 damage to the Mad Ogre, and then nothing to the balloons. So Obda's gonna give DKC another shot. See what happens.
He dropped his battle speed. He's going in with this party.
Oh! And a rough damage roll against Rosa right there. 590 takes her down.
Even with the reduced battle speed, it doesn't seem to matter here. So the game plan has to be, let's get Yang up to 1,700 hit points and be done with this spot.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be the play. We got an Assassin Dagger out of the triple Mad Ogre chest up in eLmaGus' stream.
Well, that'll be handy for continuing to kill off ogres and things, because they'll die real easy. You know, the potential for the random instant kills can be pretty great. But yeah, we're in the middle of a very interesting situation here. But that seems to be the game plan right now for everybody. I mean, eLmaGus dumped apples onto Yang to get the health to get through this spot. Like, it's going to save him a level, which is valuable time.
Yeah, and just be aware that even 1,700 hit points won't save you in this, because you could get trolley damage rolls on that one. Say you get 700 a couple of times, that'll take you down all the way.
Yep. eLmaGus found a rune ring and a sorcerer shirt down here too, so, you know, for not getting any super rare treasures that are just, like, super exciting, I mean, he did get some really solid mage armor as well, so he's in pretty good shape.
All right, so dipwood has survived the first wave, is looking for something to do with the second one. Pops a Cure 1 down. I don't think Cure 1's got the distance.
No, he's going to fall a little bit short. 96 is not quite the 500 and change that he needed to survive that. So he's going to go down. Obda Jr.'s found more ogres. He's going to throw out more hourglasses here.
Now, the interesting thing that I saw dipwood do there, though, was he decided to parry with Rosa to open the fight. I'm wondering if thought that she was maybe a bit too fast or something.
Yep. Well, as JC mentioning, no one has Cure 2s. There were no shops with Cure 2s on the field at this point, so no one had it.
Oh! Oh, it's just painful. It's just painful.
Tries for the direct heal on Yang, and it's just not fast enough, so it goes down. So at 41 minutes in, I think maybe now would be time for a recap.
Yeah, so far we've cleared out the entire overworld. We found our star veils, we found our life potions, and we've found a nice party of 5. We've only got one brick wall right here that people keep running their heads directly into, DKC at King Queen Eblon. And this is actually going to be the easy fight.
I mean, we started out on the hook right off the bat. Everybody's only got gets the cure off. So Dipwood's gonna be close. Gonna cure 1 and cure 2. Might do it, might not. With that battle speed. 575.
Oh no! Come on!
Little bit shy.
Do it! Oh.
Nope, did not get the low rolls. Gonna need to get a little bit more health on that Yang, but Dipwood's got the right plan at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Right, but as a full recap of the seed so far, again, we opened up on the hook with Yang and Rosa, so I guess everyone was pretty excited about that. Some runners decided to take the hook and go get Palom from the underground from Eblin, but eLmaGus kind of decided to not do that. But got the Luka Key from Antlion, Legend Sword was at Babul, Baron Inn had Wyvern blocking Golbez for the pass, which is pretty crazy stuff. And then Ordeals had a protection ring, and that was it. Dipwood is the only player who skipped Ordeals at this point in time. We are currently watching everybody try and grind as fast as they humanly can to get past the brick wall of Dark Knight Diesel.
Brilliant overcap there. Brilliant recap. Overview, recap, overcap.
It's an art form. That's what it is.
Please take a bow. Please take a bow.
All right, so we've got these runners grinding right now. We've got these runners attempting to really figure out what's going on. I don't think MrUbiq has seen it yet, or if he has, he got blown up. We didn't see him get blown up really badly. obdajr has encounters on and is going to start grinding up. It's Yang at 1400 health. Dipwood's level is going to push Yang to about the same spot. eLmaGus has Yang at 1326 right now.
Well, Dipwood was thinking about it. He was thinking about turning encounters off. He opted to leave them on and heal. Looking for, one step, get into an encounter.
So you want. Keep bringing the fights on. eLmaGus taking another crack at it at this point in time. All right, Rosa takes
one shot. 1070. That's a rough looking hit point total, and there it is.
Yeah, 2 600-point rolls are about what we're looking for at this point in time. So, it's 1400 with good RNG, but if we don't want to rely on RNG, we've got to get Yang up above 1800 health, and he gains a lot of health per level, thankfully. Like, Dipwood's pushed out to 1500 already. Like, you're getting about 100 experience per level here.
Up in eLmaGus' stream, we just saw him equip a Silence Staff, which adds, I believe, a +5 to Rose's will.
Yep. Trying to get as large of a heal off as he possibly can to see if he can get by. He's now at 1116.
Oh.
Needs a real low roll here.
Oh.
Does get a low roll, 537. 2 of those would have done it. Dipwood not into the triple balloons because he doesn't have Quake. MrUbiq decided to go back to Eblin, which means he probably saw death and looked it right in the face.
eLmaGus decided to unequip the heroine robes. See if she can get that full heal off. But without the heroine robes, she's not fast enough. And down he goes.
All right, Dipwood mistargeted that cure too, and it's gonna cost him this try.
That sucks. Well, maybe. No, definitely.
Nah, not with rolls like that. obdajr sees the writing on the wall as well now. Still is short on health. eLmaGus steps up to the plate again with 1326, but this time might get a big enough heal with Rosa here to get Yang up enough to be okay. Or not. That was a 265 heal.
Youch.
Alright, Rose is channeling the heal now for Dipwood, 600 hits, so he's at 900. Cure 2 goes off for 260, so he's at about 1162. Can use the Cure 1 to get above 1200. So 2 600 rolls, and he's still okay. Dipwood gets through this in one piece if the rolls are at least low.
Oh, could do it here. 655. Oh!
Alright, well, we've gotten through.
Oh!
We have our first breakthrough right now with the Cure 1 being the difference maker.
It really was. It really was. eLmaGus gets himself a third load roll and ends up coming in there too at the end of that fight. Dipwood and eLmaGus neck and neck. EKC being the great equalizer here. What's Dipwood gonna do in the face of Antlion?
Go back and save. Don't even mess with this. Turn off the counter, go back and save. Dipwood with the marginal lead of a few seconds right now, but that...
Oh my goodness.
That was something else.
And here's eLmaGus going for it.
Is eLmaGus going for it? He knows he can get through that first fight. He knows it's basically the same amount of time. He is YOLOing. He's all in. Let's go.
He's got the Quake Kid.
Yep.
Gonna throw down a slow with Porum. And fun thing about Antlion's script is that if you aim with Rosa. Her shots and her damage do not trigger Antlion's counter.
Yeah, the only thing that triggers counters from this particular enemy is the fight command, so we won't be seeing a lot of that from Yang right now. Antlion is hitting for 1, so this fight looks like it's gonna be, oh god, Porm's dead, never mind.
Well, Porm is not an incredibly important part of this fight. It's going to be Rosa and Palom that are the real damage dealers. Palom with that quack doing 2,500 damage, and Rosa cranking out about 500 to 600 with that aim.
Yeah, dipwood getting risky here, and is going with Berserker Rosa strats, so the counters will come out. But he is not afraid. He is definitely all in as well, so we'll see how that works out for him.
He's looking for some illusions. That's what he's looking for.
Yep, looking to get his party blinked up. The only big thing with the illusions is that they don't protect from the counter attack, so you do have to still be a little bit careful. Also, without Rosa available to cast Blink, you can't protect your other party members either, but, you know, the DPS is hard to argue with here.
Absolutely, and illusions are pretty cool.
Yep. Dweddit asking, does Burst hit significantly harder than Aim? Well, the advantage is that when you're Berserk, you get a plus 50% damage modifier, you get more strength, so it makes you hit harder overall. Aim makes you never miss with any of your attack rolls, but, you know, the two are probably pretty well comparable.
They're pretty comparable. The only thing that makes the Berserk strat a little more viable, a little higher in the damage output, is the frequency with which Rosa is taking her turns. Because you don't have to input a command to get Rosa to take a turn. She just takes it when the ATB bar is full.
Yep. It looks like Obda's decided to opt to go for the full 1800 health here at this point. With Yang at 1600, he should be fine to get through the fight, but, you know, gonna keep using Life Glitch to continue getting levels, just to be safe.
Well, we got eLmaGus living on the edge over here with the rest of his party.
Yep, lost his quake source from Palom, so is kind of back to using aim and everything. While dipwood is starting to fire in for 800 to 1,000 per shot, which is really impressive damage.
Calls an audible to the Dancing Dagger for 32. It's not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, but it's kind of what you need right now. You've got to do some damage.
32 is better than 0, absolutely.
Yep, looks like eLmaGus lost a source of Quake again, while dipwood gets another Quake off here for 3 grand. And Porm is on patch job duty up there, which is fine. You know, keeping the party healed up from those counterattacks.
Ugh. Ugh. Oh, Magus getting some real troll RNG right there. Every single attack targeting the one character whose turn it is.
I mean, thankfully with that Heroine Robe has a ton of physical defense on Rosa and is just going to start picking away with these arrows. Dipwood does successfully land another Quake and is going to get a Blink up on Quake Kid, so going to protect that source of damage, and the arrows keep flying from the Berserk Rosa, so probably feeling pretty good right now. Dipwood's got this one on lock, it looks like.
And it looks like Obda found a Cure 2 somewhere.
Yeah, I think that he got one from a random encounter kill. Got one as a random drop, apparently.
Oh! Obda makes it through. So Obda is actually through DKC right now.
Yep, Obda did the math, knew he needed a ton of health, had a pile of health, so he's the third through the wall. MrUbiq is going to save at the save spot, gonna kind of look at that hit points over there, but dipwood is going to be our first runner to the underground. Down goes Antlion after Berserk Rosa and Quake's going off, while eLmaGus is going to be using these mute arrows and solo Rosa with the back row Heroine Robe to get a safe but slow kill here. And just comes in just behind, so dipwood is just a hair ahead of eLmaGus here at 53 minutes.
Wow. DKC truly proving to be the equalizer here. Dipwood and eLmaGus neck and neck going into the underworld. Gonna be all about routing at this point in time.
Yeah, it's always very interesting in that, you know, dipwood's one of those newer players who, you know, has mentioned before, does not know how he feels about, does he hang with the top of the, can he hang with the top players? He's got a first place in this league. He's got a lead on eLmaGus, as slim as it is after 53 minutes. Yeah, this guy can hang.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we saw him take a little look to the right-hand side of the last room in Upper Babel right there. That was to take a look at who's at the top of the Tower of Babel, which we saw was Ashura.
Well, that's not going to be a fun check for sure. Ashura is not a fun boss to be fighting, so dipwood's going to go with what is the industry standard and is going to go right to the Land of Summon Monsters instead. Alright, eLmaGus also going in for the industry standard check, is going to stop there as well. And we're going to keep the line moving.
Yeah, they're taking very similar paths here, dipwood and eLmaGus.
Yeah. So MrUbiq is grabbing the airship. I'm not sure where he's headed right now, but he definitely feels like he is hard stonewalled by Dark Knight Cecil. While obdajr is, got the...
Oh.
Alright, so he's making the boss checks to see if he can get out of it.
Yeah.
The item down here in Land of Summon Monsters, by the way, was the Sand Ruby.
Oh, so we actually have access.
So we'll have access to Cecil.
Yeah. And since everybody did ordeals, except dipwood, actually.
Yeah, dipwood skipped out on ordeals. So down here we found coffins in the shop down below, along with alcohol.
Ah, yes. Good old Bacchus.
Yep.
And eLmaGus is going to stay in the inn.
He's going to get that heal, which means he's going to go and save, and he's going to go and make a boss check here, it looks like. The two bosses down here, because we're on the K2 flags, the two bosses down here have potential key items. So, the community lovingly, looks for free bosses here. Things that are going to be easy kills or, auto-script kills, but you want to make sure you have enough health to at least survive the auto-scripts.
We get our first peek in just a couple of seconds here.
Yep, and the boss that Magus had skipped before was the Dancing Dolls Calcabrina.
Ugh. And he nopes right out of this. Kainazo and Rubicant.
Yep, it's Rubicante sprite, so it could be the elements as well, but if on the scale of 1 to free, those are... No, those are not free. What's the opposite of free?
Like, expensive? I don't know. Well, the opposite of free is what we just saw. Gonna go ahead and pick up 20 cabins.
Yep, in case there's a moon dip in the future, you want to have those cabins handy so that you can use them at the save point between fights and the like.
And we're gonna get a dwarf castle check here real quick. Probably get to see what's in the items shop as well. Oh, nope, just going right for the boss.
Yep, now looking down though, obdajr sort of slowly lost his lock on this fight. His blinks went down, his yang went down, 1600 health, pretty well dead. So now he's just trying to use Rose's aim command to, or use Zerked up Rosa to get through the last of these hit points.
Mm-hmm. All right, in eLmaGus' stream, we've got the two guards from the Baron Inn fight in the Calbrena spot.
So, well, we're talking about free bosses. Well, eLmaGus just bought coffins, so guess what? They're about to die.
Bye-bye.
Yes, these regular enemy bosses from the game do not have the boss bit set, so they're, like, vulnerable to things that are, say, status effects stop, slow, instant, well, most things are vulnerable to slow, but instant death is a big one here, so it's just going to coffin the two of them and call it a day, rather than having to fight through all the hit points of this spot. This is a pretty healthy spot overall. MrUbiq resets back into the tower after not finding Miss Dragon anywhere on the overworld, and is going to get back to work on getting his yang up to enough health to survive the first fight. obdajr is holding steady here. just trying to keep Rosa alive to get off enough arrows to get through this ant line right now. It is taking some time.
Those counters are looking pretty rough.
Yeah, they're targeting the wrong target for sure. You need them to hit for him at this point to save the day a little bit, but it's going to get the cure off anyways. eLmaGus has found the second boss's Dark Elf in this spot, so this should be easy, straightforward stuff as well. But we'll get to see what the item is here in a moment.
So we got ourselves a me change up there. And when the Dark Elf changes, it's notorious for losing the boss bit in vanilla. Doesn't have the boss bit in this No Free Lunch Flag 1 either. So could conceivably throw down an hourglass to stop it. Vulnerable to weak. But eLmaGus says, no, you're vulnerable to 2,000 damage is what you're vulnerable to. Just takes care of him right quick.
Yeah, this is a spot that thankfully did not have a ton of health, so just works it over really quickly, and we'll get to see what the item is from the Dwarf Castle in a moment. Obdajr, still working his way through the antline fight, did get Yang back up on his feet. That counter on Porum is very dangerous, though. That is definitely the worst thing that you could see right now.
Oh, come on. Oddly, targeting Rosa was a good thing there.
Yeah, well, she was patched up, so ends up using the Cure 2 potion that he found, and it's going to kind of save the day. Dipwood is coffining the guards a little bit behind, and eLmaGus gets a Holy Avenger for his troubles.
Good lord. Well, with no one to use it, it's kind of useless right now, but if you run into Cecil or Kane, you're in for a world of pain to dish out.
Yeah, and we do know that Cecil is behind the MrUbiq. That Paladin is sleeping for eLmaGus because he made the play to Ordeals.
That's right. Dipwood dismisses his Edward. Boo. Boo,
yeah,
baby rage.
I don't think anybody's going to want the Bard, even though he'll sing Tales of Your Victory forever. He is also not a very good character at this point in the game.
Yeah, he can sing him from the benches.
Yep, Opt is through the antline fight, so he's going to be moving on, going to get his airship, going to probably again do the standard loop. eLmaGus has gone down and talked to Yang, because that gives access to a key item back in the overworld.
Good to see Obda get through that fight. I was really worried that Obda was going to wipe to that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an up and down fight, and it took quite some time, but he was able to get through. Speaking of getting through, MrUbiq with his 1500 health Yang makes Dark Knight Cecil give us the Justice Speech one more time for the seed, so 4 runners, 4 Justice Speeches, no giving up. We're feeling pretty good about that. Alright, eLmaGus has to double take again, grabbing a fresh set of hourglasses for his troubles, while Dipwood is cleared through the Dwarf Castle bosses at this point. And MrUbiq is saving before going back to fight Antline, which could be a little while, but he's going to do his best to get through this pretty quickly. While eLmaGus decides that Cecil is not a priority, decides to skip out on the Paladin, doesn't want the agility issues potentially for the endgame, so we'll see how that ends up going. I think he's going to stick with his mages, and he's going to be happy with late game reflex strats, it looks like. Alright, so we've got Virus Blink strats over for MrUbiq, trying to get things settled down for his party. Rydia, of course, face down, took the first hit and died. The first shield item is going to be the Rat Tail. So with the hook, we can go ahead and deliver that over to Adamant Grotto, so we'll get another item out of that as well.
Yeah, so Rat Tail actually works with this route pretty well. Already being up in Fabul, already having the hook. It's not too far a cry to jump over to the Eblon Cave area, land that Corvette of an airship, and pick up the old junk beater.
I like the old junk beater. It's reliable. And it's got a good color. The yellow paint job does it for me.
It really, yeah. I mean, I like the color red. I like the color red a lot, but that drill is a little unsightly.
They say it's aerodynamic, but I don't believe them.
All right, eLmaGus is going to land and turn in his rat tail.
Yep, Dipwood following in his footsteps. Let's see. Dipwood's following in his footsteps, going down to Silk.
Ooh, Darkness Crystal.
Okay, well, now we have a seed, everybody. Now it's time. So the Darkness Crystal gives access to the moon, and the 6 lunar bosses with 6 key items, as well as 1 character. But the big thing now is, when do you go to the moon? A lot of runner strategy is stay down below as long as you can, clear out every spot on the underworld and overworld before you go to the moon. Some runners will make the jump immediately. They just decide that the moon is the play. A lot of schools of thought here, a lot of gambles for sure to be made.
Absolutely, and with Knazo and Rubicent down in the Land of Summon Monsters, it's sort of weighted to go to the moon first, just because you can't really clear that out without a ton of hit points and some speed, because of Knazo's wave, which would just wreck you at this level right now.
Yep, and the big thing is that if you can get up, you're going to need a lot of levels to deal with the spot there on for Rubicant or Knazo. So eLmaGus is going to decide to do Keyless Tower instead of going to the moon. So we're going to get our first look at the top of the tower.
Now we saw in Dipwood's stream, took a little peek at the top of the tower on his way down to get the Falcon, the Corvette airship, and saw Ashura in that spot. So eLmaGus has mute arrows, and general working knowledge of the game should be just fine.
Yeah, eLmaGus also has multiple Star Veils still in his back pocket, so he wants to throw a wall up on Ashura can, which is going to be the safe play for taking her apart, or can go for the very slow but effective Life 1 Lock, which is where you time your attacks so that the face never changes. Nightdew 14 is really good at that, actually, and the videos I watched of him is how I learned how to do the Life 1 Lock as well.
I wish I was that good. Would the pace of that change depending on the location of the boss?
The pace does change, but it's just timing it with the flash of her spellcast. So the idea is that you need to time it with that your command goes off when she's flashing, so you set your ability at that time. It works well with melee attackers and not so well with this type of party, so we probably will see the double veil strat here. Only one problem, I think eLmaGus only had 1 veil.
Harsh.
Yeah, so he's going to have to go for the lock here for sure.
He's going to Bacchus Rosa and go for it.
Yep, Dipwood is following right in Magus' footsteps at this point all the way down. Just a little bit slower on the execution, but definitely taking that same routing. MrUbiq is going to go ahead and took apart the antline while we weren't watching, and so did a really good job of doing that in a fairly good time. Is going to make it to the underworld, while Dipwood looks at Dark Knight's easel and goes, and walks away.
It's a little sad having an Avenger and looking at the character that would normally be able to equip it, and seeing that in order to do that, you got to do ordeals. Boy, that's like 10-15 minutes of your run right there.
Yep, so Dipwood's going to grab the airship, and we're interested to see where he goes next. MrUbiq is going to have underground access and is likely to do the standard piece of going down to LOSM. Obd is about to kill off the second guard, it looks like, with Virus. It's under the stop effect, and so he's going to clear that spot out for now, and is going to move on to the second boss in that location.
It looks like eLmaGus is going to be fine on this one because the Cure 3 is only curing about 336 hit points. Little known fact about the Dr. Luigi spot, the Dr. Luge spot, is that the magic power is just abysmal. So the Cure 3 is not going to go off quite as big as it normally does in the Ashura spot. Cure 4 is still a full heal, so it's going to want to avoid that.
Yep. Alright, so MrUbiq, like predicted, is currently in Land of Summon Monsters, going to go ahead and clean that out for the key item. Obda sees Dark Elf down here and is probably going to make short work of the elf in this location. And Dipwood is deciding on what looks like the sealed cave play.
And eLmaGus is through the fight up at the top of the tower. And he gets the vanilla tower key for it.
Well, that's going to be pretty fantastic here to go ahead and get down there. Everyone's asking about that tiny Cure 4 that went off. Yeah, so once Cure 4 heals for too much, I don't know the precise threshold, but it's in that 16,000 range. What happens is that it recovers MP instead of HP. And when it does that, of course, what that ends up meaning is that Asura stops healing herself with Cure 4, which is very much the best outcome for you, because then you can work your way through the rest of her hit points, pretty much.
So basically, you just have to do a crap load of damage to her, over 10k, and then you don't have to worry about it.
So with a berserked up Rosa with a good bow and mute arrows, you can do 16,000 pretty quickly.
So we see the first real divergence between Dipwood and eLmaGus right here. eLmaGus doing the tower while Dipwood dips the sealed cave. You get to see the boss at the top of the sealed cave, as well as the key item.
Yep, I mean, Dipwood can save and can reset out if it's nothing useful. This is a difficult boss spot, admittedly, because Evil Wall has the highest agility in the game for a boss spot, matching up with Asura in the Underworld, or in Land of Summon Monsters, so it could be pretty problematic. We'll see.
Ah, it's package. Oh, Dipwood decides to reset before seeing the boss.
That's not the best of calls, because you still want to see the boss in case of Mist Dragon, which we saw in a couple of races already.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk.
Yep. And if that is the Mist Dragon, that could be problematic in the future, but we're not sure. Obda Jr. is going down, had done Land of Summon Monsters, is now going to go and talk to Yang. We're going to have Yang talk to Yang, so we're going to get the Yang mirror match here. And is going to get his access to his Sheila key item at this point.
eLmaGus just finished the tower, dropped down, and the reward for the tower key was a white shirt. Not a key item, but a huge item, especially in the end fight. Put that on Rosa and healing through the roof.
Yeah, not to mention that it gives you that nice magic evasion on top of everything, so it's exactly what you want there. eLmaGus is not diverging from, not headed to the moon at this point, decides it's time to crack open the sealed cave as well, so he's going to see the package at the bottom, and he'll probably give us a shot of who the boss is as well.
And there's Obda. Obda's going to pick up Cecil.
I believe Obda's decided that a Holy Avenger is enough of a reason to take Cecil along at this point in time. To try and mow down some bosses. Nah, it's an interesting call. I think it's a good call. I might be a little bit of a weight towards liking Brewster parties. He also never got Rydia, so he's been sitting on Edward for a little bit, and, you know.
Yeah, it's a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Edward has no idea how to wield the Avenger. Let's be real here.
It's too bad. I think he could wreck with that Avenger sword. And there's Obda. Obda's looking through the inventory, seeing if he's got anything for Cecil's Paladin helmet and an iron gauntlet, and that's it. Ah, and one thing that some runners always forget to do, myself included, whenever I mess with the battle speed that Obda just showed right there, is like, always make sure to reset your battle speed to 1. So you don't take a year in some of the easier fights.
Yep. eLmaGus sees the package and has exactly the same reaction Dipwood did, which is, I'm good.
What was the boss up in that spot? eLmaGus didn't show us.
We will never know, apparently.
Oh, wouldn't it be so troll if that was demissed?
I would have no words at that point in time. Nobody checked it. We don't know. eLmaGus is going to go ahead and summon the whale here, knowing that all that's left on Earth is the 2 summon monster spots that he wants no part of until he grinds.
So an hour and 13 minutes in, we don't really see a crystal in sight, and we also don't really see a definitive item chain that will lead anywhere meaningful. So eLmaGus says, enough of this, I'm going to the moon.
Yep, so we are an hour and 13 minutes in, so just to get everybody else caught up on the action so far, so we opened up on the hook this evening. So we were looking at a hook seed staring it right in the face for quite some time. Antline gave us the Luca key and access to the sealed cave. The legend sword was at Babul. Usually the king, I guess, gives you a dark sword, but this time he decides to maybe change his mind. Baron Inn gave us the pass, but only after you got through Wyvern and Golbez, so you got to get through a pretty good gauntlet there. Mount Ordeals had a protection ring for everybody. We got access through the hook to the underground after everything. You get through the wall of Dark Knight Cecil, which required that you get a ton of levels on your Yang, get him to help to survive. But once we were underground, we were able to get the Sand Ruby from Land of Summoned Monsters. We were able to get a Holy Avenger from Dwarf Castle. Sheila, on her first delivery, gave you the Rat Tail, which you could go to Adamant Grotto and get yourself the Darkness Crystal, which is how eLmaGus is headed to the moon right now. Tower of Babil had Vanilla Tower Key leading to a white shirt, so Tower of Babil was a blank for us tonight. And the sealed cave at the bottom had the package, but we may never know what boss is down there.
Beautiful, beautiful summation. All right, we're about to see the character in the Crystal Throne. I don't know if this character matters a ton, but let's find out. Oh, well, could matter. Uncle Mop, Fusoya.
The man of many spells, he learns them all, and usually is a good character to take along, especially in these deep seeds where you've got to kill a lot of bosses. The big thing with the F2 flag, the Fusoya challenge, is that Fusoya, who normally has 1900 hit points, only starts out with 500. And normally has every magic spell in the game, but he starts with a very small selection of not very good spells to his name. And you have to level him up by killing bosses to help him learn more magic, as the mop emotes are out in chat tonight. However, since we are pretty deep into this seed, he's got eLmaGus has everything. Optus grinding doors right now.
eLmaGus has turned encounters on in the lunar subterrane. I think he's planning on capitalizing on those hourglasses, gaining some levels before he ends up fighting some of those lunar bosses.
It's a really smart move. You need experience now. Like, these bosses can be very tough. They've all got some different gimmicks and things, so... And if there was a fight that he was looking for, this was the one.
Yeah, this is the rare encounter set in the lunar subterrane. Double King Ryu fight. Ryu. Excuse me, my pronunciation. Each one of these offers up 30,000 experience. So life glitching one of them gives him 60. That's a total of 90k experience for this one fight, which can be huge.
Yep, isn't going to have the key items to get to the double experience on that, but that's okay, because he's going to successfully life glitch the one. Dipwood gets the white shirt, sees the writing on the wall, decides, I don't really want to fight elements at the summon monster boss spots, so he's going to go and make way to the moon as well at this point.
Form gains 5 levels. There's 5 levels for Yang, 3 for Rosa, 4 for Palom.
Yep.
Stone, very important spell, Stone, for certain encounters.
Yep, eLmaGus looks at that bone dragon, knows it's not worth the experience to fight it, so just decides to dash away. Obda Jr. may give us a chance to see the boss down here. First things first, gonna see the package. While MrUbiq has gone and turned in and gotten his Darkness Crystal, so everyone's got the Darkness Crystal, and Obda Jr. resets out without looking at the boss.
Oh my goodness, guys, come on.
You're killing us over here.
Show us something.
oh man.
So one King Ryu, or Ging Ryu as it was 25k experience right there. Not quite as optimal as the Kings, but still well worth it.
Yep, still in the we're gonna take the time to make these into experience points because they're useful. Like even just a single King Ryu is not bad. Just to get the 30,000 experience off of casting weak in a spell and you're good. Not the worst thing to do at this point. Dipwood is in front of Cave Bahamut right now.
Dipwood takes a rest outside of Cave Bahamut. He's gonna do a little bit of a save right there. See if he goes for the chests.
I mean, they're not trapped down here. There's no trapped chests in Bahamut's cave, so they are safe for looting if you need the gear.
He opts to just ignore all of the chests and go right for the boss. Thought I was going to take a peek there. I don't think you can actually see the boss from that little platform.
You cannot see the boss from that little platform.
Odin.
Odin
in the Bahamut spot is rough stuff.
I mean, the big thing is you've got to get your damage output out right away because if your mages die, so do you. It's gonna try throwing up illusions, but Odin's pretty quick here, so it's gonna be pretty painful.
Now, Odin is one of the 3 summoned monsters down on Earth, and has a very, very bad weakness for Lit. So you see Lit 2 being targeted by Palom right there, and by Rydia. 2640. But as you can see, the speed of this particular spot is making this encounter very, very rough, as the sword is already in the air.
Yep.
Palom throws out a Lit 3 for max damage.
Right, but the thing is, all our runners are on the moon right now, so hopefully Dipwood can get through this fight. We're seeing how that goes. Trying to put out as much damage as possible. eLmaGus has gone for the ribbon chests and found Ogopogo for his troubles.
Oh, and Dipwood survives the Zen Tetsuken.
I mean, it deals damage scaling with magic damage, and this spot does not have a ton of magic damage because when Bahamut uses Mega Nuke, it's got the Mega Nuke multiplier behind it, so it does not hit very hard. But
yeah, the only problem with this is that he's so fast that when you only have one character, it doesn't take him long to take his turn again.
Yeah, but the thing is now if he can get a Lightning 1 off, even at this point in time on the raised sword, he'll potentially instantly kill Odin.
He's going to take a reset and nope out of that encounter.
Natara's asking why Dipwood would have kept Rydia over taking Fu. Dipwood did not go to the lunar castle first. Decided to go straight to Bahamut's spot, I believe. So probably has not seen Fusoya yet.
Yeah, we'll see if that actually happens or not.
Yep. And Ogopogo is currently located at the ribbon chest, so this is the double D lunar spot, one of the highest, if not the highest, HP boss spot in the game.
A total of 40,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Ogopogo is not a fun fight to begin with, and Ogopogo with this level of health is just gonna take a bit of time.
Well, and he hits like a truck, too. You just saw him drop down 1,200 damage on Fusoya. And then every other time he uses Big Wave, it's a double up. So there it is right there, half your max HP and damage. And that's just going to rip Fusoya right out of the ground.
Yep. And Wells is actually correcting us on this one. It's the 3rd highest spot. It's lower than Elements, but normally Elements splits in half. And it's lower than CPU, but it's still incredibly healthy.
Mm-hmm. It's got some beef, that's for sure. See what Dipwood does with his Fu. And there she goes. Bye, Rydia. Hello, Fu.
It's a very interesting call that no one... Porum was not tossed by either runner, Dipwood or eLmaGus at this point in time, and it looks like MrUbiq also decided to discard Rydia, as did Obda, so everybody got rid of Rydia at this point.
Well, it looks like we've got Mage Party coming out here, which means that we've got bounce strats coming up for the Zeromus fight. Demarin, can you tell us a little bit about bounce strats?
So, we talked a little bit about it briefly before with Golbez, where you have to reflect a spell to get. You can't kill him with a reflected spell because the kill is a script. The big thing with reflected spells is that reflected spells don't trigger enemy scripts. So the thing is that when we talk about Zeromus, one of his scripts is that when he gets to a certain health threshold, he refills his health completely and moves into the next phase of his fight. But if you're reflecting spells to do the damage, and you do enough damage, you never see that health refill, and Zeromus dies before going through the second half of his battle script.
Beautiful. We see eLmaGus fighting the D-Lunars in the Plague spot, is that right?
Yeah, that was in the Plague spot, so right next door to their usual home. They didn't go far this time for this randomizer. As Obda Jr. rolls up on the spot with the Ogopogo, so with a few fewer boss fights belted and a couple of fewer levels, hopefully can get through the 40,000 hit points again, going with Berserk Rosa strats as well.
This is pretty exciting that all of our runners are right now on the moon doing their thing. This is a whole new ball game, everyone. Everyone is neck and neck, and anyone can still steal this game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just going to come down to grind. Who can execute these tougher boss fights best? In an execution seed, all of that practice to kind of get clutch and get good is really mattering here. MrUbiq is saving down at the bottom spot here in Lunar Subterrane. Dipwood's in the same boat. eLmaGus is working over the dragons. Obda Jr. is working on Ogopogo. It really is everybody's. Anybody can win this one right now.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a race that ended out with such a disparity between the four runners to start with and has ended up so neck and neck like this. This is really kind of exciting. Look, we've got MrUbiq, Obda, and Dipwood all in the same encounter. eLmaGus has just left that encounter and has finished up this Plague Spot encounter for whatever treasure is going to be behind this.
Yeah, we'll take those kills when we can get them. So eLmaGus is the first person to take down a lunar boss. The single item here is just, well, the Dragoon Sphere.
Underwhelming, to say the least, when you got a 4-mage party.
Yep, it's certainly not the crystal, let's be real here.
Now, eLmaGus is actually deciding not to do the Crystal Path boss, where Ogopogo normally is going back.
Yeah, looking to probably level a little bit here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to go up to the Wyvern spot next.
Yeah, Wyvern spot has been notorious for having the crystal or the one item that is blocking your path to the crystal. This entire league has seen the Wyvern spot really come down to being the difference maker, I believe 3 or 4 times now.
And I think the big thing about the Wyvern spot is that it's the easiest underground, it's the easiest lunar subterrane spot because it has Wyvern stats. Wyvern, shows up, mega nukes your party, opens up and blows you away, but that spot is slower than the other spots. It's got less magic output than the other spots. The physical output is still pretty solid, so a boss there can still punch you pretty good, but a lot of the other key stats that lead to being a really dangerous encounter just aren't there.
And we see a blue dragon, Rip Porum right there.
Yeah, eLmaGus runs away. Blue dragons are, generally speaking, not worth the effort at all. King Ryu Red Giant, that's a little better. We can do this.
Absolutely. Red Giant gives a pretty decent amount of experience, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, problem with the hourglasses is that they don't stop the attacks that are already queued up. So you're probably going to see one shot from each of them before they're actually well and truly stopped.
Yep, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. But we're gonna get some weeks and some We're going to get some weaks and some aims and some life potions here, so we're going to get some of that sweet, sweet experience, while the other three fighters are dipwood. MrUbiq and obdajr seem to be working through Ogopogo's immense amount of hit points pretty quickly here. Fusoya is draining out Rose's MP because Rose is a berserker for dipwood. MrUbiq is looking for options at this point in time, running the 2 Zerkers and Blink strats.
And Obda takes down Ogopogo before the other 2, so Obda actually pulls ahead.
I saw the Twin Harp was one item, but what was the other?
Pigtail and Twin Harp.
Wow, that's a good find. That's a good pair of items for sure. That's what I'd want to be seeing today.
Yeah, Twin Harp is a bit of a dead end sometimes because there's only one thing you can get, no character, it's just one key item right there, and it's a bit of a divergence. You have a very long cutscene with the music, so I don't think you're going to see anyone split right away to go check Twin Harp. But we may eventually see it depending on whether or not this ends up being an 18 of 18.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk to leave the moon early. You come here when you're committed, and most runners want to run out the whole location before things go due south. So
and just a horrid, horrid enemy to see in the Wyvern spot, CPU.
Yeah, I mean, the main orb having around 20,000 hit points will be here for a little bit for sure. But it's not a hard boss with 2 white mages, it's just time-consuming.
Yep.
But it looks like eLmaGus is going for some strats here.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of a funny strat right there. Looking to cast Float, put a wall up on Porum, and has a 50-50 shot of hitting the attacker with that bounced Float. And what that does is it makes the attacker immune to Quake, but he just made CPU immune to Quake, and he resets.
Yeah, very interestingly enough, the orbs are not floating for Earth Elemental effects.
None of them are floating, even though they clearly are floating in their animation.
Yep, looks like Obda's still fighting the Lunar Dragons, which is taking a little bit of time.
Ooh.
You know, turns on the virus counters, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think Obda accidentally put in a fight command there.
Yeah, now he's getting blasted for his troubles, while Dipwood and MrUbiq are using level 3, Lightning 3 from Dipwood to clear out Ogopogo, so our favorite sea serpent, well, lake serpent, is down. And he'll get his pink tail, and he'll get his Twin Harp, while obdajr, after triggering the counter, decides, I had an Avenger Sword equipped. I got dead real bad.
I didn't realize he had Avenger on Cecil right there.
Yep.
Now, that's interesting. Obda's the only one with another fighter other than Yang.
Yeah, everyone else is definitely going for reflect strats for sure. It looks like eLmaGus got the reflect off the second time. Speaking of second times, Obda's going up to D-Lunar without that Avenger Sword equipped.
So 890 on the defender right there.
Yep, it's a nice, slow and steady fight here at this point, which I guess is what you've got.
I mean, it looks like we're in for slow, steady fights for all 4 of these runners. The lunar bosses are rude. They have a lot of hit points. And the D-Lunars are only French vanilla right here. Just taking a walk next door. Looks like Obda is actually single-targeting some Cure 4 on one of those D-Lunars. That's a bit of a risky play because whenever the D-Lunars are solo, they start spamming fire.
eLmaGus with no luck whatsoever hits the float on the wrong target again.
He's just gonna go for it. He said, "Screw this."
I mean, if he's feeling really spicy, he can reflect Fusoya nukes off of the wall that's on Yang and try and do some work that way.
I mean, if you're going to go that far, you might as well just throw down a Meteo, right?
I mean, rocks fall, make it happen, right? So Mr. Ubik and Obdajr Jr. have taken down one of the Lunars, and they've gone on a single target strats on the other dragon at this point, but out comes fire. Paladin's gonna die. Paladin is gonna survive for Obdajr Jr. with 5 health.
Gets hit by a breath from D Lunar.
Well, but Palam avoids it and is able to get the Quake off, but it doesn't look like it's enough damage here.
That's an unfortunate place to be. Obda's dead in the water in this fight. It is over.
Yeah, it's not looking very good over there. While dipwood is getting the walls up, and dipwood is going for the, if he can't DPS him fast enough, he's going for the, he's gonna go for the Lunar Frog strats.
Lunar Frog, gotta love it. Gotta love it. We saw it first featured here in this very league. And
yeah.
It's made an appearance a couple of times at this juncture. I believe Dipwood was the first one to do it in the league, actually. Oh, doesn't need it. Quake takes him down.
Mashing out Quakes as fast as he can, takes down both Lunar Dragons anyway without a trouble. But yes, Dipwood was the player who sort of randomly fell into the fact that you could go ahead and reflect the breath status back onto the Lunar Dragons and nullify basically everything that they do if you survive the first little bit of the fight. Magus, another reset. That fight is slow as anything right now, so he's just trying to work his way through. I guess Mr. Ubik did not get Ogopogo last time because he is fighting the fight again.
Yeah, it doesn't look like. I think he had to take a reset.
That's not ideal, certainly, but he's back at it right now. Dipwood is deciding to go deeper. We're getting our first look at the Ogopogo spot.
I think Mr. Ubik took a reset from the D Lunar spot, but had forgotten to save.
Oh, that's not good. That happens on occasion, but save early, save often, everybody. You'll save yourself a lot of time and hardship there.
All right, and in the Ogopogo spot, we have... Oh, Water Hag, it's free, everybody. Who likes free bosses?
I mean, right now Dipwood likes free bosses because that's free. eLmaGus going for reflected nuke strats, going for the 50-50s against the orbs and gets the wrong 50, so he's going to reset again. Obdajr Jr. taking on the Lunar Dragons a second time. Going to take another crack at this right now. Yeah, the Lunar bosses are definitely doing work today for sure. Not making these runners terribly happy.
There's the ARG.
Alright, well, away goes Water Hag. Let's see what we got. Other than a ton of experience.
1,000 experience.
For Water Hag.
Oh, so disappointing.
You'll take the experience points, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was free. Drain Spear. It's a rough look.
Yeah, but 120,000 experience points.
Absolutely, and that actually puts Dipwood in a very unique position right now. It's having the highest levels out of all 4 of the runners. Even eLmaGus.
Yeah, but another long, difficult boss is going to be able to kind of keep these runners sort of neck and neck together. Dipwood has kills on all 3 of the lower bosses right now. eLmaGus had left Ogopogo behind and has not seen the Ogopogo spot yet. Obdajr Jr. has Ogopogo down, but that's it. Mr. Ubik has none of the bosses down after taking a bad reset, so that's kind of where we stand right now. Dipwood with a bit of an edge. If eLmaGus can take these orbs, they give him something good, though, he could take the lead back.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to who finishes this fight first. eLmaGus, of course, has been deep into this fight for the last few minutes. Took a couple of resets. I think has been hitting his head against this particular wall for the last 10 or 12 minutes, actually.
He's been trying to get that reflect up. He's trying to get that float on that front orb.
Goes with the Meteo. Oh, it's not enough.
I mean, he's going to take Globe 199s in a moment, but, I mean, that's the risk you take. But you can try and brute force this fight with Quakes and Meteos, potentially, and just go all in on doing a ton of damage.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to throw lives down right on the heels of those Globe 199s. Did somebody just dodge it?
Yeah, remember, this is the Wyvern spot, and there's one thing you need to know about the Wyvern spot, is it has very low magic output. It has a very low magic attack rate.
No
so
kidding.
what happened is that, yes, the first Globe 199 only did 2,000 damage, and the second one just missed completely.
I never knew that that could even miss.
Yeah, that can definitely happen. It's a really interesting thing. Right, Mazer also does maximum hit point percentage, so you can just slow steady this one with your fighters if you have them, and not worry about it. But it looks like Dipwood's just going for direct Quake strats. obdajr Jr. gets through Water Hag without too much of a problem. Alright, it's Water Hag. Just kill Water Hag by looking at it. But still.
It looks like, yeah, Dipwood's just going to brute force this fight. Throw up a wall on Rosa and nuke. I think Dipwood's method right there might actually prove to be a little bit faster.
Yep, by killing both orbs, you know that your reflects are going to hit targets that are the correct targets. You have to time your Quakes just to make sure that you're able to keep working down the 2 orbs so that the healing orb stays dead. But Dipwood proves to be taking good advantage of trying to speed through this spot and the low magic attack here.
Oh, wow! Rosa survives a Globe 199.
While on eLmaGus' side, he summons rocks one more time. This time, the big orb goes down. So good use of the ether, but gets a Moss Immune. Are we on a linear seed?
Ouch.
We're running out of spots.
Yeah, we're running out of spots. We only have Pale Dim and Bahamut left.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, of spots that we have access to right now, we have access to Pale Dim that we don't know what Pale Dim spot has. We have access to the 2 summon bosses at the bottom of LOSM, and we have the Twin Harp. That's it. Everybody is chanting for Lunar Dragon behind the package from the sealed cave at this point.
Oh, that would be truly awful. D-Mist behind Lunar Package.
Scholar Kitty asking, what did we see behind Bahamut? That's right, we have not yet seen what's behind the Bahamut spot, correct?
We haven't seen what Bahamut had, but it was Odin that was at the Bahamut spot for the boss.
Yeah, we did see Odin take apart Dipwood pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Dipwood takes CPU apart.
Alright, so dismantles the orbs, is gonna get a sword for a character that he doesn't have, and is gonna march right on, but he has cleared out all 5 bosses from this area other than Pale Dim. So, 4 out of 5.
Does he have 10 key items?
Yeah, he does have 10 at this point in time.
Yeah.
The Path, the Hook, Darkness Crystal, the Twin Harp, the Sand Ruby, Tower and Luca Keys, the Legend Sword, the Rat Tail, and the Pigtail.
Alright, Dipwood's gonna exit.
Right,
I think this is gonna be an exit re-entry.
Yep, gonna patch up real quick and then hop back in. Yeah, so Ogopogo behind the Ogopogo spot ended up having the Drain Spear as the singular item, or that was the Ogopogo spot, excuse me.
Mm.
We were fighting Ogopogo at the D-Lunar spot, which has a Twin Harp and a Pink Tail behind it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little crossed up between the D-Lunar spot and the D-Lunar boss, so...
The French vanilla D-Lunar boss?
Yep.
Alright, we're about to see who's behind the Pale Dim location, as eLmaGus is going after the D-Lunar spot with the Ogopogo.
Yep. MrUbiq just got his Dragoon Spear for taking down the Lunar Dragons, so probably not terribly excited about that. We're getting Edge and Cane weapons left and right, but we're not getting Edge and we're not getting Cane, looks like. Hey.
Alright, and at the Pale Dim spot we have the Mega Sisters.
Oh, this boss is basically free at this spot. You've got Mute Arrows, you've got Quake, you've got Meteo. You get that unsplit damage. This is basically free. The Mega Sisters aren't going to do any damage in this spot either with these levels, so...
Yeah, 36 damage physical. Delta attack, they're Fire 2, doing 390. Drop in the bucket.
Yep. Again, dipwood all nice and leveled up for him to take apart all of those other bosses, so you just have to be careful about avoiding Charm and you'll be 100% okay. So dipwood, of course, I think knows this and starts just firing off Zerg arrows and gets a little lucky with that first one, and come the rocks.
Oh, takes out Sandy in the back there.
Yep, obdajr, I think, has seen enough of the moon at this point in time and needs to do some restocking. So Obda's probably going to be our first runner to go ahead and hit up Cave Magnus here.
Ooh. Might see some music hype.
Yeah, we're going to get some... Looks like we're probably about to get some beautiful music.
Alright, Dipwood is through the fight. We get to see our first look at what Pale Dim location had.
Mute Arrows. So we've got the Baron key, opening up access to the Baron Castle trash can and the Odin spot. But we've got two branches of the tree at this point. We got three major branches of the tree at this point, which is the Baron branch, the Twin Heart branch, and the optional bosses branch. We've also got the Mist Dragon at package spot branch, which is totally going to happen.
Yes. I mean, this seed has been so rude for so far in this. I can't see it not coming down to demist at some strange location.
That would be incredible. We're an hour and 45 in. eLmaGus still trying to work over Ogopogo. MrUbiq is dipping back down to the Wyvern spot, so it's going to find CPU up there. obdajr is going to be the first person to see what's at the bottom of Twin Heart Magnus Cave here, so... We've got a little bit of a divergence. We've got two runners who are on two different paths right now, and we're going to see how this plays out.
Yeah, Dipwood is taking his second run at the Bahamut spot. Now he has a solid 20 levels more. Might actually survive this quite handily. Berserk Rosa.
Yeah. Invenerable asking where the Twin Harp was. The Twin Harp was located at the double chests where the D lunar spot, which was being blocked up by Ogopogo.
Yeah, it was Twin Harp Pinktail in that location.
Yep, eLmaGus gets his Twin Harp and his Pinktail is now going down to Ogopogo spot, so it's going to be rewarded with a big old pile of experience here. Everyone's asking for audio for Obda because it's time for the hypest moment in the league ever. Oh. It is time for some music.
Here we go. All right, Restreamer, can we get audio on Obda? He's leaving me hanging.
That's fine.
There it is.
I can't hear it, so...
It's the Tetris theme. Oh no, that's not the Tetris theme, that's FF1 battle music.
Ah, heard enough of that in the last month.
I bet. As you may or may not know, Demarin is a Final Fantasy I randomizer runner. Dipwood just destroys Odin right there. A couple of lit 3s and some high damage berserking, and that is over.
Yep, we've got some Agama facts. We've got some crossover from the Final Fantasy I community, which I love. Bahamut does not have value. No value in Cave Bahamut tonight, everybody. It's a blank story.
Sorry about it, Rivers. No value in Cave Bahamut.
Right, so MrUbiq has found the Mega Sisters and is going to probably take them apart pretty quickly here.
Let's see what the Twin Harp Crystal location has. Oh!
He's got it. The gamble pays for Obda Jr. and he hops out in front of everybody out of nowhere.
Oh my god, okay. Well, so Obda's the first one of our runners in grind and go mode, and I don't even think it's grind and go mode at this juncture. Probably has the levels to do it. This is poised to be a huge snipe.
Yeah, Obda was struggling, was in the third most of this run, had some struggles with the lunar bosses, had it tough, but ultimately, the one item he got, the one thing, made it work. Dipwood is making the same call right now.
Oh, wow.
So Dipwood is going to find a crystal in about 3 minutes flat here and has got the levels to go right to Zeromus. I don't think Dipwood even's going to need to grind at all. Obda is going to go and do some doors, it looks like, to get caught up on experience, but he's only got 9 key items because he never did Tower, and he didn't finish off the other bosses in the Underworld, so it's going to be a little bit slow.
It'll be a little bit slow, but already at level 40, Obda will probably hit 45 as the crow flies. And with Cecil and Yang in his party, that might be enough damage with an Avenger sword.
Yeah, he might have to go for some interesting hybrid strats. He might have to do some reflecting and some berserking to get through the Zeromus fight. Right, but he needs a few levels. The big thing is that Dipwood needs to have, with this party comp, needs to have 52 on everybody. Needs to have White and Nuke on everyone. So Dipwood may still be stuck doing a little bit of grinding while thinking about it. While we've been talking, MrUbiq works over the Mega Sisters, and I'm sure eLmaGus was happy to see them there as well, because that's a pretty easy fight to deal with.
So I'm curious why Obda's doing doors at this point. Got the Darkness Crystal there. Could jut up to the Giant of Babel and do some D-Machine grinding. It wouldn't take very many D-Machines to actually get it done.
I mean, it's a calculated risk for sure. I think he's thinking that if he takes apart all the doors, he gets to about 40. 48's not the worst place to be, but yes, the crystal did give Obda 10, so he does have the full complement now. So he's close enough, and I think he feels like running a 2 Berserker, 2 Mage, and 1 probably Dead Paladin strategy. May be able to make it through.
Yeah, that's pretty fair, actually. With an Avenger and a decent leveled Yang, you can really crank it out. Cecil's already doing 2k damage with the Avenger, and that's not even in the center slot. And we see eLmaGus going up in the Lunar Whale, coming back down to Earth. Let's see where eLmaGus ends up going. Meanwhile, MrUbiq is down there in the lower left-hand corner, gonna fight Odin.
Alright, so he's gonna get his defense sword, which he's not gonna be terribly happy about, but he's gonna get it nonetheless.
So eLmaGus has been baited by the Baron Key at this point, and is now probably in for a very, very long item chain.
So I know there was a joking comment before about eLmaGus' inability to get that reflected float off, but eLmaGus is proving to not be very good at the 50-50s right now, as he's going to get the Baron Key, and the Baron Key may lead him to the Earth Crystal. If he's lucky, it'll be the pan into like a pair of blanks like Adamant Spoon, but that would be very fortunate.
Looks like Obda is exiting.
I think, does he think he's good? Is he there?
Is he going for it?
I don't know. Dipwood's got the levels right now.
Absolutely.
Dipwood's got White on Porum, Nuke on Palom, Fusoya comes fully decked anyway, Rose is your healer for this fight, you re-equip her as such. Dipwood's done. He's going to go right in, I believe. So we are going to probably have a photo finish between, potential photo finish between Obda and Dipwood. Obda is going to go and get his adamant armor before the start of it. Dipwood trying to set up an anchor situation here.
See that adamant armor going right on Rosa. No big shock there. Yeah, level 45 Cecil, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, the fact that Dipwood was able to get those extra kills on the bosses efficiently has given him the levels he needs to get the reflect strat off the ground.
Now we see Obda throw on some mute arrows and a bow. I don't think that's for anything other than control. Wants to be able to choose the ability to take that Avenger and put it on, instead of maybe getting caught up in a bit of an Avenger glitch. Encounters are off. Battle speed is 2.
All right,
and Obda is ready to go.
Dipwood, however, is not ready to go. Stops at Toroya, is going to decide to get the adamant armor first. For reflect strats, I don't think this is strictly necessary, but he's going to do it anyway. He's going to take the safety, and this could cost him a first-place finish right now.
And here we are. We're headed right into the Z fight.
Yep, MrUbiq is also in Baron, so he is taking the percentage play, but is going to end up getting whatever Magus is about to get as well. Right,
I think it's probably Earth Crystal coming up. Oh, it's Magma Key. Well, now that's interesting.
I mean, that's the best outcome we could get here right now, because that means all of our long chains are hidden behind the tough bosses. But he's going to go do Odin first, it looks like, before turning in the Twin Heart. Dipwood is done. He's gotten his adamant armor at 155. Obda's got a bit of an advantage as he's starting the fight right now. But again, Dipwood on reflect strats could snipe this still.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also has more levels, so a little bit more HP, a little bit more cushion to take that second big bang.
All right, but first, as Scala Kitty would say, we gotta see whose butt we're gonna kick today. Here comes the crystal, and we have today. Well, we'll see in a moment.
I'm holding my breath.
This is my second favorite part.
Who is that?
That is Caius. Oh man, from Final Fantasy 13-2. He's here to he's another time loop boss.
Okay. That must be why I don't know it.
It's basically chaos.
Okay, and Dipwood's entering the Zeromus fight right now too, so boy, we've got quite a neck-and-neck battle here. It is going to be close for first and second.
Yep. eLmaGus found Baigen at the Odin spot, so he's going to start working on that right now. Alright, here goes Dipwood with the crystal.
Alright, now Cecil's going to start pumping out that damage. 2,000 zerked with that Avenger. It's not a huge amount of damage, and we see Obda is actually going to stand pat on this first big bang. Opted not to take any turns with Rosa and just sit around and cure.
I believe he went and threw a silk web, so I think he got the first nerf free, as everybody tends to do here. However, Dipwood, I think, made a bit of a tactical mistake here. He's got Yang Berserk. This is a problem because you want to have control over that character and use them as a chemist if you're going reflect strats, but it looks like that's not what he decided to do.
He's not going reflect strats, he's berserking Rosa.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know the reflect strats, but he had the party for it. He could have pulled it off.
I'm curious about this. Well, Yang's cranking out 2,500 per shot with that, berserk right there.
Yep. Odin gave eLmaGus the spoon, which again, like we were saying, was probably one of the best outcomes that we could get here, because it's going to keep you from going down the horrific rabbit hole and instead get you pointed towards the towards Cape Magnus, where the crystal lies.
Let's see if eLmaGus actually takes the twin harp route. Oh no!
Wait, that's not Cape Magnus. eLmaGus is making the play where he feels that he needs to do the hard bosses to have the advantage because he knows he can do them, and he is gonna go down and try and take apart Kainazo and either Rubicon to the elements.
Well, I can't say I blame him for thinking that he can do this. Full-powered Big Bang on Obda's stream right there. But I think that that's fine, because this is really the party that Obda seems to care about. Cecil, Yang, Rosa, Fusoya. Meanwhile, up in Dipwood's stream, we've got Fu playing Chemist right now. And he's hanging around with Porum, waiting for that next Big Bang.
Yep, just gonna let the Zerkers Zerk and go off and do what they've got to do.
Praying for a good damage roll here.
Yep. Swimmy Leone mentioning that Magus hates the Twin Harp spot because Magus hates big cutscenes and wants the key items that are quickly accessible, which makes sense.
Absolutely.
That was a very evenly rolled Dipwood Big Bang there. Everybody took about 1,400 change there.
Yeah, not too bad. Definitely didn't rip Porum, which is the most important part about that.
Yep. Keeps the old double healing rolling, which is keeping the party alive at this point.
All right, and we've got an HP refill on Obda's side right there. Did a fully directed nuke with no counter, so that means that we're in phase 2 of that fight.
All right, so we're well on our way. It looks like Dipwood just got the black hole, so he's hit the health reset as well. eLmaGus gets waved to start, gonna heal up, and probably not gonna have too much more trouble with this Kainazo spot at this point.
Cast White. 6180. It's quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, just all-out DPS at this point in time. Just bring this boss down.
Oof. Rosa, even with an adamant armor, takes 1,600 from that Big Bang.
Yep, but 1,600 isn't 2,100. She's still plenty alive, which is what matters most there.
That's right. That's right. Just like the poker players say, chip and a chair is all you need. All she needs is 1 hit point.
Well, need a little bit more than 1 hit point because Big Bang ticks, but, you know.
Sure enough. Sure enough. And Dipwood's going for some more Zerk strats there. Throwing down a Bacchus wine with Yang.
Right, and we're here at the 2-hour mark, and right there, eLmaGus is taking it down, so Ubik's got the spoon, eLmaGus gets his rock, gets an adamant. You have to feel that when he sees the potential dot-duns about what's going to happen there. Cecil gets nuked, almost loses all of his health as well, but he's still standing.
Yeah, he's going to need a little bit more hit points than that if he's going to take a full-powered Big Bang on this one.
Either way, I have a ton of respect for Dipwood pulling off the Zerker Rosa strat here, which is pretty amazing.
Ooh! That's a tough nuke right there. Dipwood takes a full-powered nuke to Porum for 2,000, and it rips her right there.
So how it's gonna go sometimes.
Yeah, no white mage. It's looking pretty rough.
I mean, you've still got Paladin to play Chemist, and you've still got some MP on Fusoya, so things are all right there. But that's gonna sting a bit. He still has plenty of mana for Cure 4s or Life 2s, so he's feeling all right about it. Rosa doing a little bit of chemistry on the bottom right fight as both of these runners just let their Berserker sort of take hold. Full Big Bang. Fusoya is out of MP for Obda, so gonna need to reload down there. Second black hole coming out for Dipwood here, so gonna get any Zerking wiped out again. Gonna try and get his party back up and online fully to be able to fight, while Obda is holding strong, getting off that last Cure 3, but Fusoya is out of mana at this point in time and definitely needs to reload.
Yeah, it looks like Fu's out on Obda's side as well. So both Dipwood and Obda are in the same phase of the same fight. Boy, this is going to come down to literal seconds. Ooh, Rosa takes a nuke for 2,300 and it rips her right there.
Yep, she just gets dropped from 100 to 0, which is not ideal there, certainly. Obda Jr. just letting Cecil go at this point in time, waiting on Rosa. Gang only punching for about 900 here. Dipwood trying to get Berserkers recharged. Big Bang comes out for Obda. Fusoya and Rosa.
Oh, Cecil left with 1 hit point, and just like you were talking about, that little HP damage tick takes him out.
Yep, HP ran out. Dipwood going for a nerf on this Big Bang here. Throws out the nuke from Hallam. It's gonna hit hard for one thing.
No counter. Is he in Meteo Fit?
He might be there. He might have this. He might have this one down. He might want to go all in here.
There it is, Meteo phase. Dipwood is in Meteo phase right now, which means actually he might be in trouble. Oh, no, Yang's berserked, so that's fine.
Yang's berserked. Meteo misses everybody but the one. He's punching away. He's almost there. Absolutely almost there. Just needs to get off a couple of more spells. Obda's slow fight is not gonna get him there, it looks like. This is unbelievable if this holds. He just needs to survive. The Meteo safety cure 4 goes off, and we're good.
Dipwood finishes in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours and 4 minutes and 11 seconds.
Dipwood, I think, needed a signature victory. I think does this qualify?
I believe it qualifies.
This is the signature victory? I think Dipwood wants to be in this room. I think I'm going to pull him right in here now.
Go for it.
His team's a little excited. I'm pretty jazzed.
I would need to talk to somebody after this too, so go for it.
Let's get him in here right now. And we are joined right now by our race winner, Dipwood, 2 hours, 4 minutes, 11 seconds. You needed a signature win. I think you were looking for one. Please, just go ahead and talk. How are you feeling right now?
Just a side note here, Obda's in Meteo phase, so we almost have another dot done coming up here. Dipwood, can you tell me, what are your feelings about that seed that you just played? Might be having some mic issues here. Yeah, I think Dipwood's got a few mic issues going on.
I hear you now.
Oh, okay, great. So, tell me a little bit about that seed you just played. And, by the way, that is a dot done and a GG for Obda Jr. Official SRL time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds. So, Dipwood, please, tell us a little bit about this seed.
Well, first of all, always go for the Twin Heart. It's for the fans. So, just goes to show. Second of all, this seed was... I thought I was in big trouble with Dark Knight Cecil. I spent like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes on that guy. Just due to grinding and everything. That was really my only hiccup. Oh, really? Yeah, that was my only hiccup. Yeah?
But the one thing, just so you know, you were the first person through Dark Knight Cecil.
Wow. Did they do ordeals?
You were also the only person to skip ordeals. eLmaGus did all the overworld, but was maybe 15 seconds behind you at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. But yeah, I figured, you know, I didn't have Cecil, I didn't have Tella. Why do ordeals? I can get experience elsewhere. So yeah, it looks like I made the right call there. I was like, if it's ordeals, then I lost already. So I might as well just keep gambling on these other paths. And I also did a strategy on CPU. It was intentional this time. I knew he would go back to normal after doing like a couple globes. So, but I get the experience from those little guys. So I got a massive experience boost from like killing the little orbs like 4 times.
Absolutely. Yeah, the lunar subterrane was really kind when it came to experience, and you were able to handle a lot of those fights pretty efficiently. The one in particular that you gained a lot of ground on actually was the CPU fight. Tell me a little bit about how your approach to that was.
So I forgot about the floats threat and decided, but I noticed that the CPU like revived everything after two of them. I thought it like killed your whole party and like never revive them. That's the first time I've ever actually seen it revive them. So I was like, oh well, I can just life and just keep quaking, and it's probably faster than just killing one and trying to like, because I had 2 mages of quake. I had to go for that strategy. I couldn't like go for the kill one and do stuff.
Absolutely. So dipwood pulling off a first place finish right here. How are you feeling about your chances?
Well, at this point, I'm definitely in the playoffs. Now, I'm not sure about the top 12. I don't know math there, but I think I might be in the top 12 if I get like anything other than 4th in the next race. I'm not sure the odds, but I feel pretty good about my chances.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, you played well, and you definitely slogged through what was a marathon of a seed. Congratulations on your first place victory, man. Obda Jr. Congratulations to you, sir. Second place, not so shabby, and very razor-thin finish there. How you doing?
Oh, I wish I had set the battle speed to 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, I saw you switch it to 2. I know that there are a few runners out there that absolutely swear by battle speed 2. But why do you say that you wish you had switched it to 1?
Because once I got my berserks up, they were just attacking so slow that, and I had a really good cycle of, with the adamant armor, the Rosa can cure very, very easily, and not have to worry too much about dying. So I wasn't in a tight enough situation where I actually needed to, and my damage was really light, so I should have just tried to do it as fast as possible. But
I want to make this one really quick, Obda, because eLmaGus is actually in the Z right now. What was the impetus that you had for checking Twin Harp?
I got fed up with the moon, so that was
totally fair. Totally fair. And when you saw the crystal as the reward?
I was like, oh, I have actually a good chance of winning this now because no one's going to do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For a moment, you and dipwood were actually in the same phase of the Zeromus fight, probably neck and neck at hit point count, too.
Yeah, and then battle speed 2 screwed me, so.
Yeah, got that. Any final thoughts, Obda?
Oh my goodness. Dark Knight tower with no magna key is not the funnest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you raced incredibly well, made up for a lot of time, and finished out really strong, just a minute behind first place and second place. Congratulations and well done, man.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we see here in eLmaGus' stream, he's in the Zeromus fight right now, full committing to bounce strats. Going for that refill skip. Looks like a directed nuke target right there from Fusoya.
So during phase 1, you're going to cast 1 direct nuke. The reason being that you want to get the first big bang nerf because you're not about to cast any heal spells during this fight. Like, you are literally all in on just getting 7 reflected spells off as fast as you possibly can. Fusoya dying here, well, it's not great because he's a nuke caster rather than a white caster, which is a faster spell. But you deal with it what you can, and so we're just going to keep on. Actually, it looks like he's not full committing. He's going to slow it down and going for some heals here instead.
Well, yeah, it looks like Zeromus is actually incredibly fast right now. I don't think eLmaGus has done any sort of agility manipulation, just going full guns into the fight.
Yeah, so he is definitely all in right now, and the big thing is he's got to execute this fight properly, otherwise he can get himself in a lot of trouble. Second big bang going off. This one's going to be full.
Oh, that's a big one. Oh, that's a big one, and that's really tough. He is super fast right now, and eLmaGus, yep, takes a reset right there.
Wow, he is now behind after taking a wipe here, and his last save was all the way down in LOSM.
Holy crap.
He did not save outside of Toria. He's going to use his last exit and bail back out. Always make sure you safety save.
Yeah, and here comes MrUbiq. He's going to start his Zeromus fight right now. We might actually see the difference between third and fourth be that particular wipe.
Yeah, and from what people tend to say, that this could be a bit of an upset. But again, the randomizer is, going to do what it does. He's got to go back and get the crystal as well. He is going all the way back to eLmaGus because he did not save.
Oh no! eLmaGus is saying in chat that his save file got wrecked.
Oh, that's nobody wants. I did not realize that he did save. It would be very unlike him not to.
Yes, it would. So we got a parry from Palom right there. And MrUbiq is playing this fight just a little bit safe.
Yeah, I mean, save strats are going to be kind of the way to go. He's going with, like, single Zerker. He's going with some pretty low damage strats here, and then going to get the single Zerker going. Hobson Jr. is watching MrUbiq stream right now.
Yeah, so we're getting a little mirror image of...
A little bit of that nice little...
Full-powered Big Bang, and MrUbiq has Yang berserked, but in the back row, and I'm a little confused as to what's going on there.
Opta Jr. mentioning that's not him. He did cut stream. That's...
Oh.
Might be a bit of a minor restream issue. No worries there, though. So eLmaGus goes back down. He's gonna go and go through this again and then work his way through this a second time. Well, MrUbiq is having a very, very slow fight here right now. Alright, full power Big Bang against MrUbiq, but we've got Forum and Palom down, the twins are down, but we've got 3 characters alive. I mean, there are safe strats, and then there are incredibly slow strats. MrUbiq desperately needs to change rows, get his one physical character in front. Again, looks like a strategy he's really uncomfortable with right now, and with only 3 characters, is going to take a very long time to get through the fight.
So it looks like he's throwing down another berserk. Yeah, there's the row change. There's the row change that we were looking for. Now we're starting to see some damage. Gonna throw down a life 2 on Palom just before Big Bang comes out. We'll see how that goes.
If the life 2 delay is not enough here, and it looks like, yeah, Palom's gonna stand right back up to probably get blown right back down in about a moment here.
He's kind of a sheet in the wind right now. As Pat Frapp has pointed out, this is over a 2-hour seed. Their brains are probably mush. That is totally valid. Oh no! Oh, MrUbiq is now full Bacchused.
With food down, Palom down. Well, gonna get bailed out by the black hole potentially, but is definitely in is in full recovery mode right here. eLmaGus catches an encounter, had encounters on, and is gonna quake the Stingrat encounter here.
I think that's more of a meme quake than anything.
Yeah. It looks like what Chad is saying is that the eLmaGus may not have saved at this point in time. They went back and viewed the video, and it looks like he might have. He wanted to get a level to get white. He didn't need a ton of experience, so he was able to just pull it off by killing off an encounter. I don't think I've ever seen in a free enterprise run that's not hero.
So with only 2 characters left alive now, MrUbiq's Zeromus is incredibly fast.
Yeah, and is incredibly in control at this point.
He's playing it safe. I don't know that playing it safe is going to net him the damage output needed to push Zeromus into a phase 2 change. And also, when nuke phase comes around, that could also be GG's.
Yeah, no, he had the party, like, Rose is really low on MP as well, and I didn't see any elixirs coming out, so he's about out of resources right now. He's just gonna get drained to his drained to nothingness here. He's got the Reflect Strat party, he's got the Reflect Strat gear, and we've got Gang punching away for 1900 right now. We're not even in nuke phase, that's a virus.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, you don't start seeing the loose nukes until about halfway through the health pool. Like, you've got to get the refill down first. So, yeah, this is probably a very slow, grindy wipe for MrUbiq. He just hasn't realized it yet.
Meanwhile, eLmaGus up there is entering his second Zeromus fight after doing his second Cave Magnus. We got another full-powered Big Bang coming out. And thankfully, nothing comes for a little bit of damage and some stuff to heal. Fu doesn't have any magic points left.
Yep. His team is tapped again. This was the slow sort of wipe that just takes time. eLmaGus making sure to throw a Silk Web to get the first nuke nerf off, and Palam's going to take the nuke in response for 1600 and probably die.
That's a pretty rude target for the nuke, but it's nothing that you can't get yourself out of.
Yeah, gonna just again, Chemist Yang is gonna bring Forum back up just to make sure that everything is safe and good. And we're going to see some more spells reflected off of Palam back at the now slowed down Chimus, so is in good shape. MrUbiq is getting a Reberserk up from Rosa now onto Yang, and is, again, back to slowly whittling this health total down, but the MP is not really holding up. eLmaGus, another reflected white, this one for 9 grand, because Rose is the best.
Now, there's an interesting phenomenon with the some of these nuke reflects, is that it seems that the damage output from each of these nuke reflects tends to be more and more and more the more you use it.
Yeah, not strictly the case. It's just that, you know, getting some nice good rolls here and doing some good damage.
Porum lays down a Cure 4.
Yep, just gonna be safe. Gonna keep the team alive, which is important, even with the reflected heal. Just making sure that it has enough health to get everybody except for Porum through this big bang.
MrUbiq goes down to just Yang only, and rip. There it is.
Yeah, I think MrUbiq finally realized that, well, still in virus phase, was eventually a wipe. Black Hole goes off, so we're gonna get a rewall, which is good, and we're gonna get a bit of chemistry here.
Well, Palom goes down.
Yep, the black hole has taken Palom from us. Palam's gonna cheer his way to an 8,000 white in the head. That's not ideal. Alright, we're now in full recovery mode. We've got to get our party back into fighting shape here, because otherwise we're going to die to this big bang from Magus' side. Boost heal is enough to get everybody into decent shape. Forum's going to go down to this big bang, however.
Very easily. And there she goes. Bye, Forum.
Alright, we've got a virus going off here, so...
Oh, that is an untimely life, or untimely black hole right there.
Yeah,
Takes wall away. Oh, I thought he targeted white. Never mind.
Nope, was thankfully targeting life 2 and a life potion there, so everything is all right at this point. Gonna try and get the wall back up on Yang. Get back to doing DPS, so we've got UBIQ on his second try on Zerms at this point.
$8,000.
Yep, still shaking though.
That white goes off. It's gonna do somewhere in the vein of that. 8K. Oh, 5,300. And there's Big Bang, and it's coming out hot.
Yep, Forum definitely going down. We'll see if Palam can hold out at this point in time. Yeah, 1,400 on Palam, but Busoya takes the full brunt of it, takes over 2,000 damage and drops. Again, MrUbiq getting a fast out, but that's, again, does not look to be ideal at this point.
Casting a nuke directly on Zeromus this time. And the reset.
Yeah, Black Hole coming out. Was trying to push through the last bit of necessary damage. Looks like he's going to try and check some agilities here, get the right agility anchor in place. Flip some parties around, but now MrUbiq's in the driver's seat, starting to reflect nukes off of Yang here, trying to set up the party here for success. He's got his wall up on Yang. He's got a first. Did not say he's got a first Big Bang nerf off, but you know, Rose is playing Chemist. Porum's trying to heal as best as possible. We've got looks like reflected viruses and reflected nukes from Palam and Busoya. This is extremely close at this point in time. Again, UBIQ's damage is not the best right now with this party layout, so he's just trying to.
I think he's just trying to keep himself afloat right now.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to maximize output and maximize his party at this point in time, because Forum and Palam are going to die to another Big Bang in a hurry.
Yeah, it's not going to take long.
Yes.
See you later.
And the other thing that chat noticed is that because he's still attacking with Yang, he might not get the refill skip either, but he's having a really hard time with this mage strategy right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing about the mage strategy is that you have to really buy in hardcore to the idea that you are just ignoring damage, and you are just dishing it out. All you do is reflect spells. It's all you do.
Yep, it's a very risky all-in sort of strategy, but when it works, when your spellcasters have enough gear, you can do the damage. When you do that damage, it works out really, really well.
We see that shake from MrUbiq's stream right there. It looks like we're getting another unnerfed Big Bang coming out. Oh, Rosa going down. That's the worst.
Yeah, MrUbiq is probably in another slow wipe state here. Palam nuking for 9k. eLmaGus getting the Silk Web up right on time, so gonna keep things in order.
And a poor damage roll takes care of Palom.
Yep, absolutely drops Palom to the ground.
That first Big Bang nerfed.
Yep. I mean, Palom is already dead either way, so gonna raise Palom back up. But Porum is alive and walled, and is gonna just be the conduit for a lot of holy energy being bounced back at Zeromus here.
There's this telltale second shake. And this is where eLmaGus is going to have a bit of a rough time of it. Because I don't think the damage output has been enough. And yeah, that's him recognizing that right there. The damage output has not been high enough in order to take care of this.
Yep. MrUbiq taking another really massive Big Bang there, taking his party apart right now. So not in great shape. Patching up Yang, but again, we're in that slow grind to nowhere phase right now.
Ah, okay, so it doesn't rip Porum.
That's the important part. The wall stands for now, so we're gonna get these nukes clean off. And we're gonna get some healing going. So we got Yang playing Chemist. I think we're gonna see a Cure 4 in a moment.
It's getting ready to reset wall. Got it off before the black hole, so... There's black hole, okay.
Yep, trying to get it timed.
So there's wall on Yang at this juncture.
Well, Yang's got enough hit points to potentially survive 2 Big Bangs, so it makes a lot of sense with the wall on Yang. It's just sometimes you can't get that set up immediately.
And Fu didn't have enough MP to actually do nuke, so opted instead for a Cure 4.
Yep, gonna keep the party running at this point in time again. MrUbiq is still having some problems down there. Gang is punching away for 1,700 at a clip, but it's just not gonna cut through the 100,000 plus HP you really need to do the damage for. We got another reflected white coming out from eLmaGus, so the reflects are going. Ubiq has no one left but Yang. Yang's going to take a virus and drop down, so that's another wipe for MrUbiq. eLmaGus bouncing another nuke off of Yang at this point.
It shouldn't be too much longer. There's white.
Resources running thin right now, at least for Busoya.
And boom. There it is. That's a dot done for eLmaGus. With an official SRL time of 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 28 seconds.
Yeah.
And eLmaGus comments, "Somebody get me rabbit feet and clover."
Yeah, so eLmaGus getting 2 points for the 3rd place finish is going to end up at 11 after 4 races. 2 firsts, a 4th, and a 3rd. MrUbiq takes a 4th place finish and is going to drop to 5 points total after 3 races, a 2nd, a 4th, and another 4th.
eLmaGus, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I am tired.
Yeah, that was an absolute marathon of a seed. From the very beginning of the seed all the way through to the end, it just kept kicking everybody's butt up and down, Earth and the moon. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts while you were on the moon fighting those lunar bosses, what you were going to do next.
It's hard to gauge where others are after a seed or a start like that. So, I was only worried about me. I made a crucial mistake on the moon. When I get Fusoya, you go back and grind D machines. Like, boom. Seed done in hour 50, easy, every time, no matter what happens. That's a big mistake I made.
Yeah, fun fact, nobody grinded D machines.
Yeah, I figured because nobody was done. like once I was like inside there and got random encounters, I thought of it and I was like, why didn't I do that? And when nobody was done after like 140, 150, I was like, nobody must have grinded D machines because you would have got like sweeped out the seed at that point. But yeah, that's definitely on me. Other than that, my thought process on most bosses was, could I please get a little bit luckier? But but other than that, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there were some pretty troll damage rolls, and actually a couple of those damage rolls from the Dark Knight Cecilo in the King Queen Eblon spot, which it was pretty rough to watch everybody go through that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that just like good damage rolls would have been enough for me, and I still died a couple times. That's the first instance where it's like, oh, that's great, that's fantastic.
Yeah, when you see a boss like that, a really trolly boss like that in that location, what is it that goes through your mind when you're trying to prep for it?
First of all, I needed to check how much damage he does because I didn't know. I never had him there before. And when I see how much damage it does, I obviously try to prepare for that with leveling. The best spot, I think, was Eblin Castle with the 3 encounters, and I got enough levels there. Just like the rolls were not quite as kind as they could have been on most attempts, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I felt for all runners, and particularly for you on some of those damage rolls, they were unkind to say the least. What prompted you to go back down into the underground once you did Baron Castle?
The main thing was that Porum didn't have white. Again, if I grinded on D machines, that wouldn't be an issue. I was like, well, I'm going to do Reflect Stars and 0. I'm going to need some experience. Let's go kick those bosses' asses. If they have the crystal, who knows? If the others don't check it, then might as well try for it, right? So,
totally fair.
Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't really amount to anything. If I would have gone to Twin Harp, I would have been in a position where I could have finished first, but I mean, that's just like, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Indubitably. Any last thoughts on this absolute marathon of the seed?
Don't let me play at 3 a.m. my time anymore, please. This was torture. A lot of the mistakes I made at some point, like 1 hour in, 1:30 in, I was just like, I'm tired. I'm really tired, and I think that cost me a lot at the end. I want to say I saved before 0 at the end too, but maybe I didn't. I don't even remember anymore. I want to say I prompted the save, but I had to go back, and Porum. The funny thing is, Porum didn't have white anymore because my last save apparently was in the Land of Summoned Monsters, so I had to fight a random encounter to get white. And then my agility for 0 was absolutely trash too. I don't know. Oh, it's just like a mess in total.
Well, go get some sleep and forget about this this trolley seed, eLmaGus. Well done to get through it, is what I would say to that.
Yeah.
Have a good night, sir.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, and that will wrap it up for race 19 of the Highway to the Zemus-Zone. Demarin, that was quite a slog that we just watched.
I mean, that's how a lot of these runs have been. You know, you get up on the moon, there's a couple of tough bosses all over the place. You know, you can't avoid it at the end of the day. And so it's always going to be the runners who've done the prep and are ready to take on those tough bosses. dipwood rose to the occasion tonight, taking a very well-deserved and I'm sure much appreciated win to move to 10 points and be one of our runners that does have 2 wins under his belt already. And Obda Jr. rolling the dice a little bit, getting a little tired of the moon, and instead getting paid off with a 2nd place finish. Again, a very difficult seed, all 4 runners over 2 hours. I don't know if that's the first time this tournament for that. Might be worth looking into, certainly.
I think it actually is the first over 2 hour finish for a 1st place finish in the league right now. And that just goes to show you guys, anything is possible in free enterprise. It is a randomizer, and just because it's just the bosses and the treasures that get randomized doesn't mean that it's easy. You just witnessed firsthand. This is tough stuff, and these runners are real good.
Yep, and just so everyone is aware that, you know, the action will be continuing going forward. So we do have the inimitable Muppets in Space running on August the 18th at this point in time, which will be good to see, I am sure. But let me go ahead. I'm just grabbing everybody's schedule right now. Just
Kids at home, if you want to see somebody waffle about decisions, tune in on Saturday and watch Muppets in Space run this game.
But, of course, if you want a little bit of action right before that, tomorrow night here on RPG Limit Break, we've got Dipwood going out again in his fourth and final race. We've got GreatWightHope with Aizen Tayama and the Fizz going off tomorrow. This weekend, Saturday, we've got a Saturday triple header going off starting at 7 p.m. There'll be races at 7, 9, and 9:30 across RPG Limit Break and Speed Gaming. We'll have a Sunday matinee 3 p.m. and a Sunday night match at 6 p.m. on Sunday coming up. So we've got a ton of action going on as we are starting to hit our peak. Our runners know where they stand, and we are almost there. We're gonna cut to a top 12 pretty soon. So keep an eye out for those races. Keep on coming out and supporting the community.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to the next round, and I look forward to the one-game playoff that's coming up shortly after the first round of 32 is done. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to Highway to the Zemus-Zone. I'm Muppets in Space.
And I am Demerin2. And everybody, again, all you fine Final Fantasy Free Enterprise fans, thank you for coming out and have a perfect night.
Good night, everyone.